going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chucky! I didn't say.
Get your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day so far. I have got a good one. We've got a sovereign citizen. We have a jury trial. Yeah. And we got a special guest. I think you guys know who the special guest is.
Yo, what up, everybody?
Once I figure out how to bring him up, you can already hear him. There we go. What's up, Team Skeptic?
Hello, everybody. Hello. Great to see everyone.
You as well. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us this evening. I do appreciate it.
Oh, for sure. I love coming up here.
So we've got a sovereign citizen that's a former correctional officer, and she was caught smuggling drugs into her place of work, which, that's frowned upon. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
It's a crime.
Real. For real. Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's a crime. And it's not something they take lightly. You're not going to get a slap on the wrist. You're going to do jail. You're going to do jail. So Skeptic played a little bit of this video this morning. Hopefully you guys saw his video already. So we have more of that trial tonight. It's still not the whole thing. The whole thing is really long. And as most jury trials are, they're pretty boring for most of the trial. There are always some fun parts to watch, which is what we have to play tonight. And thank you to Team Skeptic for allowing us to do this tonight.
Oh yeah, no, I had sorry, I'm trying to get to the actual stream so I can see the chat on my end, and it's not working. Yeah, so I came across this video a couple of maybe 2 months ago, and I've just been traveling a lot, plus playing catch up on, there's always new content coming out. And so this one had just been sitting there, and finally I was like, I got to get this one out. So it went out today. I only put out what I believe to be like the core to the video, which was the judge giving, I guess, just from the mostly from the closing arguments to the end of the trial. So I didn't play too much of the actual trial. Most of it we're not going to watch. It, like Colin said, it's really long. Most of it is just very technical. I didn't put in the drug screening expert who's just going to take testimony and say that, yes, I've been working as a drug screener. She never talk to the defendant ever. So there was no point in leaving that in, and it's not in there tonight. So tonight I put in the other parts that were relevant to the trial but didn't make my video. There's a few really good parts in here that when I was putting this video together for Colin, I realized I had missed it for mine. So there are still some really good parts. Even though if you've seen my video, there will be some new things you'll see tonight. So shout out to everybody that came over from my channel. Thank y'all for being here, and let's get this show going.
All right, let's go. Before we do start, I saw KCC raided. KCC, thank you so much for the raid. I do appreciate it. Speaking of KCC, did you hear Team Skeptic's dig at all of us that played fantasy football with them? Yeah.
That was funny to me.
Yeah, thank you so much for that awesome, amazing shout out. That
Of course.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so I do want to say this. Because this is a little bit longer of a video tonight, I'm gonna let it play for a little bit longer in between pauses. So there might be giant chunks of time that I'm catching up on the super chats and such. So just to let you guys know, I'm not ignoring you, but I might let the video run for 10 to 15 minutes just so we can get through it tonight. So I'm just saying that out front. But while I do have a couple right now, 125 Southern, thank you so much for being a member for a month. I do appreciate it. And isn't that special for 14 months? Thank you so much. Isn't that special? I do appreciate both of you. All right. You guys ready? I want to watch some court. You want to watch some court, Skeptic?
Yeah. Someone said, hold on. Someone said, so should we watch your vid first, Skeptic? Well, no. We're already here. Watch it here and then go watch my video. Yes. Now,
Yes.
my commentary is A+ in that video. So, yeah, you should definitely go check it out. But after you watch this video.
Yes, but you absolutely watch Skeptic's video from start to finish. Give him that good view time. He needs the view time.
I need the view time.
All right. Yeah, let's go. You guys know what to do. Before I hit that play button, hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. Let's go.
Williams,
Good morning.
where are you currently employed?
Fulton County Sheriff's Office,
And how long have you been employed with the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
18 years.
And what was her assignment during that roll call?
So she was originally supposed to go to 6 North.
Colin, I'm getting a black
However,
screen.
on that,
I'm getting a black screen on my end.
It's black on yours?
Yeah, and on the stream.
That's weird. Why is it showing on mine?
I don't know. But on the
Everyone's-
stream, it's black too. Like everybody, video, question mark. Colin sucks, question mark. Black screen, exclamation point.
Why can I see it and you guys can't? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Hold on. Let me
Probably
try.
because you get your computer from Kmart.
Walmart, actually.
Definitely the Rain Man Kmart type shit.
Hold on. I am, because of the file size, I did put this in my my bonus hard drive. So
Colin is challenged,
let-
to
let-
say the least.
All right, I'm gonna move it over to my
How
normal
about
hard
this?
drive. Maybe
You
that'll
do
work.
you do this, and I have something I need to talk to the audience about.
All right, you
That's
do your
some real
thing.
shit we have to talk about. Audience. So guess what? There's people trying to copy us. Me and Colin and everybody else. They're using AI to copy us. Today I got a notice from somebody. They sent me a video or an email. It says, "Hey, check this out. AI is copying you." And I've been knowing this for a while, but this time I went and checked. The name of the channel is The Skeptics. Are you kidding me? They're so blatantly copying me. Not just that, but they took my script and fed it through an AI and just had the AI put out my script in a different voice. Like everything. Even at the end it says, "And I'm Team Skeptic and I'm out." Like, I'm not even kidding. So I hate copyright striking channels. I hate that. But it's about to happen. About to have to copyright some strike some channels. So if y'all want to go over there and say let that person know how shitty that is and how much of a fucking loser they are for trying to fucking live off the sweat of another man's back. Actually calling himself a skeptic like that, I hold that fucking title very dearly. Like, you don't pass no bullshit around me. I asked for fucking evidence. I asked for links to do my own research. Can't just say that you're a fucking skeptic. You got to actually be one. So this dude's like, I mean, I call him a dude. Could be a chick, but this person is it's very, I don't know. It feels disrespectful to me. It does, even though they're not getting a lot of views. You know how easy it is to start a YouTube channel, to do this on your own. It is so simple. Just go and do it. You
Good
really
morning.
don't have to. Oh my God, there it is right there. Good morning. But
No,
anyway,
continue.
oh, all right. So the name of the channel is The Skeptics. Go over there and shit on them, and to be sure to be like, hey, we love Team Skeptic, so fuck off, fuck you, quit being a loser. And I'd greatly appreciate it. I'll go over there and reply to everybody who comments.
You know, if they run the same, the exact same thing you say, and they do your intro with your
Everything.
well, but can you go to your sponsors and say, hey, can I get double the money because now
No.
someone's saying it the same way?
You ain't putting up my views. That's
I know.
you can act like skeptic, but you can't replicate me.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. People steal. It's so easy to do, and there's not a lot you can do. You can copyright strike them, but it's not as easy as people say. Just go copyright strike them. Yeah, that's a process. You don't. It's not like a button you press and
Yeah, yeah,
YouTube just goes and looks at their video. That's not how it works.
yeah. But yeah, this AI slop content is really getting to me. Like I'm all for AI. I'm a total proponent of AI. But this is YouTube. This is supposed to be a place for people to express themselves. And you know what I'm seeing more and more, and it's really frustrating. It's just people that are just putting no effort into the video. They first off, what they're doing is, I'll tell you what does frustrate me. They'll put enough effort to cut me out of the video,
Right.
but won't put that takes so much more effort than it does to put themselves back into the video. It's so easy to just say a quick little sentence, give a tiny small opinion about it, but they won't do it. They'll go spend all that effort to cut me out of the video just to post it as is. And it's so funny because I'm looking at the comment section and there's people that are like, "Oh my God, thank you so much."
Yeah.
The video's like 2 years old. You can go watch it on 30 other channels. You're old and it's escaping you that you've already seen it 10 times. But don't support these channels. Be like, leave a comment that says, "Come on, man. Put some opinion behind it. Put a backbone in it." They're slop channels. Like, don't waste your time watching them. Go put your time behind a real creator. Biggins, that's a real creator. Go put your time behind him. Go
Yeah.
Colin. All these other little channels that actually are not afraid to get up there and put their opinion behind it. Go support those channels. Fuck these other channels that are just taking content from 2 years ago and posting it, and hundreds of people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing this. This is so amazing. Thank you so much for," and then that's
For
where they
all of
fuck
your
up.
hard work.
All of your hard work. No. All of my hard work. All of Colin's hard work. Mike's hard work. Old Squishy Gardner's hard work. You're doing it off of our hard work. They're not working hard. They're fucking sitting there with an AI fucking video generator and doing it that way. Trust. Fuck those people. Let's get on with the video.
That was a great way to wake everybody up. Thank you for that.
Woke me up. Woke me up. Shit.
I wasn't gonna call you out on that. All right, I'm gonna grab these real quick just because we haven't started yet. Idaho Wiggles, thank you so much for the 5 months. I appreciate it. Jude Curio for 12 months, 1 year. Thank you so much, Jude Curio. That is awesome. Thank you so much for the year. Thank you. Michelle, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Legal Fictions in the house. Thank you for the super chat. The video wasn't working, just a blank screen. Yeah. I think we figured it out. You can see it now, right, Skeptic?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can the chat.
Terrapin for 6 months. Thank you so much, Terrapin. I appreciate it. Let's see. MS Chris, all behind Real Skeptic, king of t-shirts. Absolutely. His t-shirt collection is legendary. And Wixom for 10 months. Thank you so much, Wixom. All right. Yep. Looks like I can't run videos from my spare hard drive. So that's what just happened. So we figured it out. Let's go.
Where are you currently employed?
Fulton County Sheriff's Office,
And how long have you been employed with the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
18 years.
And what was her assignment during that roll call?
So she was originally supposed to go to 6 North. However, on that particular evening, the 5th floor was short an officer, so they reassigned her to the 5th floor to 5 North.
Now, during your shift on May 3rd of 2021, were you made aware of an incident regarding Jadon Young?
Yes.
Okay, could you tell us about how you became aware of that incident?
Well, I was the supervisor over 5 North and 5 South because it was on a weekend, so the other sergeant who will normally work the north side was their off day, so I had both sides. And I was housed.
I'm sure we'll figure that out. Skeptic, do you know off the top of your head, is this Fulton County?
I'm pretty sure it's Fulton County. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's Georgia. That's all I remember. I don't remember where.
Okay, hey, look, maybe I should give just a little bit of what's going on here. She's on trial for like 7 different charges. It's more than 7, but it merges to 7 final charges. 3 of them are going to be 3 different possession of a controlled substances. 3 of them are going to be crossing guard lines. So when you're walking up to a police station, you know that little sign they stick in the dirt that says, if you bring your bag past this point, it's subject to search. Any contraband past this point is considered bringing it into the jailhouse. Well, yeah, she got charged 3 times for that. 1 time for violating an oath of office. And I think that was her last charge. I think it's, at least that's what she ends up, all the convictions end up being. So she showed up to work fucked up, and then she locked all the other guards out of the jail on accident. And then they caught her with a bunch of ecstasy and weed, and I'm not sure what else, weed and ecstasy for sure, on the inside of the jail, and it was wrapped up to be distributed within the jail. So that's what we're looking at right now. That's what she's on trial for. They're in the back and forth stage right now, the testimony stage. Okay. Yeah, she violated her oath of office straight up, Hitchbot. Straight up. And gets time for it, real, like 5 years. So, all right, here we go.
On the 5 South, and I kept hearing on the radio them raising 5 North, and there was no response. And
Now, when you say raising 5 North, was that someone in particular they were trying to get in contact with on 5 North?
they were just trying to raise whoever was working that floor. Neither the floor officer or the tower officer was responding to the radio.
Okay.
So at that point, it became a worry, like what's going on over there that no one is responding on that floor.
And did you respond to that floor?
Yes, sir. I then tried calling. I tried calling the floor, the sergeant's office on the floor. There was no answer. I tried calling the tower. There was no answer. I then got up to go over there myself, and my tower officer on the south side informed me that the officer that was on the north side had came and pushed a button and asked him to try to call over there because she was locked out. So when I got to the north side, D.O. King was standing outside the door, and she informed me that she had been trying to get back on the floor, but no one was answering the button, and she wasn't answering the radio.
Who wasn't responding to the button?
Miss Young.
Okay, and then she said no one was responding to the radio. Who was that person they were trying to reach through radio?
Young.
Okay, and so to just be clear, was Miss Young the tower operator?
Yes.
That they were trying to reach?
Yes.
Okay, and so
and as we were going down the stairs, I heard the tower door pop, like unlock. So I then ran up to try to catch the door so that I can get in there.
And did you ultimately catch the door open?
Yes.
And were you able to enter the tower?
Yes.
Okay. Now, upon entering the tower, what, if anything, did you observe?
So there were several lights on the screen lit up, different call buttons that were being, people were hitting their call buttons inside their cells. Also outside the door, there was the radio, our county issue radios, hers was turned up really loud. The phone was just ringing, and she was sitting in a chair, but her eyes was real low. Her hair was looked like she had been asleep, and her hair was kind of messed up, and yeah.
Did you inquire as to what was going on with her during that
Yes.
time?
I asked her, was she okay? What was going on? She told me that she was just really tired. And I told her that, being in the tower, you cannot be asleep. Like, you have to be able to be up and observant to watch over the floor officers on the floor. And she just said she was just a little tired, but she was fine. And so I told her and Officer King to switch. So I told her to go and work on the floor to, wake her up, move around a little bit. So I told her to go work on the floor and King to work in the tower. So I told King to go down and get all her belongings so that she can come up to the tower.
And so when you switched Officer Young to the floor and Officer King to the tower, what, if anything, did you do next?
So once I gave them those instructions, I returned to 5 South, which was where I was supposed to be. I returned to 5 South, and I let King know that if she needed me, just to call me back. I'm on duty tonight. And about I say 10 to 15 minutes later, she called me, Officer King called me, and she said, Sarge, Young hasn't came out of the stairwell, and we have an inmate that's refusing to go back into his cell. So at that time, myself and I took my 2 cadets, which were officers in training, I took them with me, and we went over to the north side so that we could address the inmate and I could see what was going on with Young.
Now, did you go back and approach Young for a second time?
Yes. So once I got to the north side, as King opened the floor door, the 903 door, to allow me access on the floor, I heard Young come out of the stairwell, and she came around the corner. And as she came around the corner, she just was unsteady, and she walked into the sergeant's office to put her belongings down. And as I seen her come out, I said, okay, she came out the stairwell, so she's okay. And I went to address the inmate who was refusing to return to his cell.
So after addressing the inmate issue, did you return to the sergeant's office to speak with Officer Young?
Well, as I was addressing the inmate, one of my cadets came and told me, he said, Sarge, something's wrong with the officer that's over there doing the round. So I left from the inmate to go to check on Officer Young. And as I observed her, she was in Zone 100, which is the housing unit for the inmates, and she was trying to do a security round and pick up trash. However, she was moving slow, and she was like staggering as she walked. Her eyes was real low. So at that point, I instructed the cadet to go ahead and take over the security round. I told her to come, let's go in the office, because she just was unsteady and didn't look herself. Please doing.
Yep, we got body cam footage.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just break in. We'll break it up into little segments since we're gonna let a lot play. We'll let a lot play until the soft sit comes on a little bit later, and you'll see her at different times because I do want to explain some things that are going on because I still cut out a lot. This was like a 5.5 hour long trial that I cut 3 hours out. So there's going to be a couple of people doing testimony and a couple of body cams from the this is walking her back from the guard tower to the sergeant's office, and then you're going to have the body cam from the lieutenant that came in where they're actually going to go through her things and pull out all the different drugs and whatnot and identify that. But I went ahead. I know everybody loves to watch body cam because I love to watch body cam too. So I went ahead and left it in the video so we can all watch some body cam to see the evidence with our own eyes, be able to make our own decision, do our own research.
Exactly. While we are paused, I gotta remember where we were. Betty, thank you so much for the 14 months. I appreciate it. Reseller, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the family. Thank you, Reseller. Goddess of Truth, thank you for the super chat. Figures it is Fulton County. It is a spanky Fannie Willis territory, completely corrupt. Thank you for the super chat. Chris, thank you so much for the 6 months. I appreciate it. And Legal Fiction, thank you. Video seems to be working. Thank you. Thank you for the heads up. I don't know what I could do without you, Legal Fiction. Thank you for the super chat, bud. All right, let's go.
Unless maintenance is doing down. Unless maintenance is doing checks on them. Okay, because I was wondering. So I didn't know that's from. The majority of it though is from. Sergeant William. The majority of it. Whoo, yeah, you like scaring the hell out of me, baby. Please get in here and take a seat. That footage was from me escorting her from the north side to the south side. And I did that because she couldn't stay awake. her eyes was really low. She was swaying and staggering as she walked. So as I told her to get her stuff so we can go, I was gonna keep her on the floor with me so that I can keep a better eye on her. And as we were walking, she couldn't stand up. Like she was barely standing up and she just kept swaying. And several times she used the wall to like hold herself up. And it was making me really nervous for her well-being. She definitely did not, she was not coherent. Like she was very out of it. She couldn't stay awake. Her eyes kept closing. She kept falling asleep. Every time I would ask her a question, her responses would be different. When I kept asking her, was she okay? Has she taken anything? She told me that she had taken some Benadryl 3 hours ago. And I told her, I said, well, 3 hours ago, you was on shift. Why would you take Benadryl while you're on shift? And she said, no, I took it before I came to work. I said, well, did you take it before you came to work or did you take it while you were at work? Then she said, well, I took it before I came to work. And I'm like, you're falling asleep as I'm talking to you. And then she sits down and she reaches into her bag and she picked out a apple juice bottle, a Minute Maid apple juice bottle, and she put it to her. She tried to drink it, but there was nothing in the bottle. And I said, clearly something is wrong with her. So I then reported down to the watch commander's office to speak to the lieutenant on duty to let him know how she was and her actions and things of that nature, her behavior.
No further questions from the state, Your Honor, subject to redirect.
Any cross-examination?
Yes.
Oh, you guys get to see her. This is her first time you're gonna see her.
Yeah, check out that court outfit. I mean, that's a decision. You can make
Yeah,
that
that's a decision. You're right.
I mean,
Not one I would have made, but hey,
yeah, I
don't
mean,
spend a lot of times in court on that side.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. You?
That's great. I'm doing well. I noticed that you spoke on noticing that I was having a medical emergency of some sort. My demeanor was off. Was EMT ever called for me?
Yes.
Was that in a watchtower or was it when I got down to the captain's office?
It was after we escorted you down to the captain's office.
Is that on body footage?
No.
Okay. I also noticed that you said that I walked out of the tower on my own. Are there cameras in the tower or in the hallways of the towers at all?
There's cameras in the stairwell and also on the floor in the horseshoe.
Okay, but not in the actual
Not in the
watchtower.
actual tower. No, sir.
Okay. And while I was under this influence, under the demeanor, not feeling well, you asked me a question twice about Benadryl, me taking Benadryl. Do you usually ask people who aren't feeling well questions about what they've taken if they're not feeling well, knowing that they probably wouldn't have a recollection of anything?
Yes.
Okay.
If they're on duty.
Okay. And you also stated that, I'm sorry, 1 second. How would you know what question to ask? If there was something in my bag, or the prosecutor said, if there was something in my bag, how would I know if there's something in there to let somebody else know?
I'm not understanding the question.
The prosecutor asked you, did you search my bag? Right.
They didn't, but yeah.
Okay, well, I'm asking, my bag was searched. How would I know to inform someone if there was something in my bag or if there was something that somebody may have given me if I didn't know?
Well, when we asked you, you
Objection, Your
responded.
Honor. Off of speculation.
Overruled. If you can answer the question, you can.
When we asked you, had you taken anything, you responded, you said you took Benadryl. When the medical provider came to assess you, he let us know that that Benadryl does have a drowsiness effect, but that in your case, it was really extreme. And you said that what you took was in your bag. You told us that what you took was in your bag.
Wow, I wasn't aware of anything, correct?
Well, you kept saying that you were fine.
Okay. That's testimony while I wasn't feeling well. I got you. And is there any reason why the EMT wasn't caught on body camera footage for any reason?
Well, it wasn't on my body camera footage. I'm not sure if it was on Lieutenant Grady's or not, but it wasn't on mine.
Okay. No further questions.
Any redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor. So Sergeant Williams, when you inquired as to whether or not Officer Young had taken anything, why were you asking those questions?
Because of her not being able to really stay awake, and I was worried that something was really wrong with her. So if she had taken something, then it would give us more of an explanation as to why her demeanor and her behavior was in which it was. So her saying that she took Benadryl, okay, yes, Benadryl has a drowsiness effect. So, well, let's let her not be on the floor. Let's put her somewhere where she can sleep, because she can't even drive home at this point. We can't send her home because she's unable to stay awake. And so we initially said, well, let's just let her sleep it off, in a safe environment. And it kind of went from there.
And so when she informed you that which she had taken was inside her bag, did you indeed go in the bag to find what she had taken?
Yes, sir.
And what did you find?
So when we went in her bag, she had a sandwich bag of white pills. It was quite a few of them. She had a sandwich bag full of white pills, and then another bag of like gummy candies or whatnot.
When you say a few, could you give me a general number?
I don't know the specific number, but it was more than 10.
And you said it was in a sandwich bag, was it?
Yes, sir.
Were there any like prescription bottles or medicine bottles inside?
No, sir.
And when you saw these white pills, did you inquire as to what they were in origin or whether or not they were Benadryl?
Well, as we saw the white pills, Lieutenant Grady told us that those looked like Xanax. And so we then Googled the pill itself, and that's what it came up as being.
Did you inquire, Officer Young, as to whether or not she had taken those pills as opposed to the Benadryl she said she had taken?
No.
Now, did that conclude your portion of this matter?
Well, we did. She ended up coming back after Lieutenant Grady walked her to the captain's office to try to rest. She ended up coming back down to obtain her bag. And when she came back down, she told Captain Winfrey that those pills were her prescription and that it was on the bottle in her bag, but there was no prescription bottle in the bag. And so then Captain Winfrey instructed me just to keep an eye on her. And as I was keeping an eye on her, she continued to fidget and reach for her bag, kept reaching for her bag, and then she took something out of her bag and put it in her pocket.
Did you know what, if anything, she took out of her bag into her pocket?
It was papers.
Yeah.
So when Captain Winfrey came back in, she instructed us to do like a pat search of Officer Young, and then that was my conclusion of dealing with her.
And when you were going through the bag, did you come across any other types of pills or any substances?
Yes, there was in her bag there was another smaller bag, which inside that smaller bag there was another bag of little pills. They were different colors, different sizes, and then there was a black ball of it was like wrapped up in electrical tape.
Said a black ball?
It was a ball of it was wrapped with electrical tape. So it was in the shape of a ball.
Were you later made aware of whether or not this was just a ball of tape or something else?
Well, once we opened the bag, it had a strong odor of marijuana. And at that point, Lieutenant Grady turned on his camera and he recorded himself opening the contents.
Now, the other pills, the different colored pills and capsules that you also said were in her bag, were they inside of a prescription bottle?
No,
How were they packaged?
in a sandwich bag.
In a sandwich bag? And the number, could you give us a general number of these colorful pills and capsules?
I don't think that one was more than 10, but it was more than 5.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any recross?
Yes. Being that my bag is clear and you can see anything in there without even touching it, what made you go specifically for my wallet? Because you also said that I came back down to get my bag. I'm not aware of that. Like I said, I have no recollection of that night after being in a watchtower. You said I came back to get my bag. Is that on camera at all either?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And being that my bag is clear, you can see anything in my bag without touching it first, right?
Well, you can see certain things in your bag, like say you had another bag inside of that bag, so you can't see inside of the other bag because the other bag was not clear. Your wallet was not clear. You had notebooks and binders and stuff, so you had quite a few things in your bag.
Okay. Okay. But could you see the pill bottles that you were describing, or are there any? Okay. So what bag are you specifically speaking of that was inside of my clear bag?
There was like, I guess the kind of like a makeup bag, and it was colorful, but it was not clear.
Okay. And you said there was a wallet as well?
Yes,
Okay. How big was the wallet, if you?
like a normal size wallet.
Okay.
It was thick, but normal size.
Okay. That is all, Your Honor.
All right, may this witness be excused, Mr. Miller.
You may, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Attorney State calls Captain Grady.
My
Okay,
name is
pause it
Robert
up real quick.
Grady.
Pause it right here, real quick.
Yep.
All right, so a couple things to take from there. That was the third drug, was the Xanax. So it was marijuana, Xanax, and ecstasy pills that she brought in. And in her first cross, she had said something. Were you gonna say something, Colin?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. In her first cross, she said something about, why did you ask me what drugs I've been on? Because that's what fucking people do. Like, that's what EMT does when they come up upon somebody that looks like they're fucking cracked out, and they say, what drugs have you taken? Even if they haven't taken anything. Not just to give you a anecdotal story. When I had my own health spa downtown, in downtown Dallas, there was an accident outside. A man had actually like run into a building, crashed into a building. And I was in like a big bar area of Dallas. That's where my business was at. So the immediate assumption was either he was on drugs or he was just really, 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 really drunk. So drunk that he crashed into a building. But that wasn't the truth. And they asked him that. They grilled him that when he was unconscious. They were trying to wake him up. They were asking him, hey, buddy, what drugs have you taken? Hey, what's going on? And it turned out he was just having a fucking diabetic shock. He was in diabetic shock and having an episode where he passed out. And that's just something that cops do. You know, that's something that EMT does. It's something that firefighters do. Because if you're on drugs, they definitely don't want to treat you for a fucking diabetic shock when they really need to give you a little bit of Norcan. You know what I mean? So that's why they ask that question. It's not an implication of anything. It's just so that they can do their jobs better and they can make sure that you don't need medical attention. Because if you said, yeah, I took a little bit of fucking Xanax, I think I might have I thought I took Benadryl, but I must have taken Xanax. I'm so sorry for that. That would explain a lot. And then they would know better than to, assume that you were having a diabetic attack, diabetic shock.
It's true. That is true. Let's see. Miss Orchid Blooms, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I appreciate it. Welcome to the new member. Rob, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the family. Sparkle Poots with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Sparkle Poots. I appreciate it. Welcome to the 5 new members. Phil with the 10 gifted memberships. Very generous of you, Phil. Thank you, bud. Welcome to the 10 new members. And Miss Orchid Blooms rounding it out with 1 more gifted membership. Thank you so much, Miss Orchid Blooms. Welcome to all the new members. Thank you. All right. Yep, I'm actually kind of surprised that the Sav Sit was. I mean, she wasn't asking very good questions, but she wasn't asking. She wasn't off the rails. Like, she was asking questions that at least made sense.
Yeah,
Um,
no, she's a learned sob student. So she's been doing this for probably a long time. She asks questions that are legal in nature, but wait until she goes on her soft sit rant. She takes all of those little stored up IQ points that haven't yet been fully applied because you don't know if it's a fluke or not. And she just fucking throws all of those out the window. And it's like, yeah, it's probably a fluke that she asked all those questions in that manner.
I was just joking. I was just pretending to be normal, everybody. Here's the
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, no shit.
All right.
ROBERTGRADY.
Good morning, Captain Grady. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Can you tell the jury where you're currently employed
Clayton County Sheriff's Office.
and what is your position there?
I hold the rank of captain and the assistant jail administrator.
And how long have you held that position?
2 years.
And so there's a unit inside of the jail that investigates contraband and crimes that are committed within the jail. Is
Yes.
that right? And you were at some point head of that unit.
I was.
Now, before we go into further details about what you observed at the jail on that date, I do want to go over just some general things about the jail itself. Where's the location of the Fulton County Jail?
Fulton County Jail is located in Fulton County, city of Atlanta, Zone 1, 901 Rice Street.
Okay. And can you explain to the jury what the guard line of the jail is?
The guard line is an establishment by the sheriff who sets the standard in the area that he wants noted to anyone. Once you cross this established guard line, there are certain rules and regulations that are in place about contraband or anything that's not permissible to come inside of that guard line. It's usually noted by either fencing, signage throughout the jail compound.
Okay. And so at the Fulton County Jail, are there signs that indicate that there's a guard line?
Yes.
Okay. And what other signs put people on notice, not only, that they're at or crossing the guard line, but the prohibited items?
There's a large sign, I remember at the checkpoints, outside, exterior, new intake, sally port areas, entry points where visitors, guests, even arrestees will come in through the back door to establish what the guard line is and what's permissible or not.
Do you recognize States Exhibits 3 through 9?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And what are those documents?
These are pictures of the Fulton County Jail and the established guard line. Signage, a lot of signs that tell you that you are here at the jail, that you will be searched. It gives the Georgia law on the signs, very clear, large signs that are basically warning signs that if you go further, then you're subject to search.
Now, Captain Grady, can you explain what is depicted? And this would be in States Exhibit.
This is the main entrance driveway to the Fulton County Jail. And what you see here is a sign that says stop with some disclaimers. And beneath it, it declares the sheriff's guard line and it's followed up with the official code of Georgia annotated.
Okay.
It says stop. Everyone entering this facility is required to clear the metal detection security checkpoint. There are no exceptions. Everyone is subject to search of their person and property at any time. Staff who fail to comply with this directive are subject to dismissal. Anyone attempting to bring contraband into this facility will be arrested and prosecuted. If you are unsure if an item is considered contraband, you must declare the item prior to passing through the checkpoint by order of the sheriff.
Are you familiar with the defendant, Jadon Young?
Yes.
And do you see her here in the courtroom?
Yes, she's sitting to my left with a gray scarf and black sweater on.
Your Honor, let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
And Captain Grady, how did you first become familiar with the defendant,
As far as this incident or just in general?
this incident?
I was, from my recollection, received a phone call from Sergeant Williams indicating that she had an employee that may have been intoxicated or extremely ill on the floor. After receiving that phone call, I was told to go get the employee and bring her down to the watch commander's office.
And what happened when you arrived?
I walked into the office. Well, first, before I walked in, I activated my body camera. When I activated the body camera, I walked in. I called her name, Officer Young, Officer Young, Officer Young. She seemed to be incoherent, non-responsive. Each time I kind of elevated my tone to gain her attention, till I eventually kind of walked up to her to kind of nudge her to get her to be somewhat more responsive. During that encounter, she just appeared in some sort of deep haze, just not herself. So we gathered her to walk from the sergeant's office into the day room, and then to the hallway, and then down to the watch, got on the elevator to go to the watch commander's office. While she was walking in front of me, she could not maintain a steady gait or walk. She was kind of wobbling. For lack of better purposes, she appeared to be like a drunk and couldn't stand steady to maneuver herself. And then we eventually got to the watch commander's office.
Okay. And what happened when you got to the watch commander's office?
Just kind of asked some baseline questions. What's going on? How are you doing? Do you need help? Just baseline to see what's going on. I remember at one point she said she had taken Benadryl, so she may have just been drowsy. Later determined or smelt marijuana. I was on the body camera. I declared who I was, made statement about the guard line, eventually had to do a search of her property, what was in a black bag, and suspected pills and paper wrapper, tobacco, marijuana, stuff like that was discovered in her bag.
Did you review your body cam footage prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
Has that footage been altered in any way?
No.
Your Honor, state would move to admit state's exhibits 10 and 11 into evidence and publish to the jury.
Any objection to 10 and 11?
No objection.
It's admitted.
All right. I like to find the natural pauses. That way we can at least, make a few comments here and there.
Yeah, and I want to point out that Rob Dorr, right when we started it, he made a good point. He's like, that was her appearance. I'll say this, Rob. All right, I said her appearance was good, but that's good for a sovereign citizen. She asked like 3 questions. Most sovereign citizens will just not ask any questions. They'll go be their own counsel and they'll sit there and be silent. And I always say this. I'm like, sitting there, like when you're a lawyer, when you're representing yourself, this is like one of those few times in life where you shouldn't do less.
Right.
Like you should actively be participating in your defense and do as much as you can to defend yourself. So because she asked 3 questions and they had something to do with the case, she gets a D-, which is like 5 or 6 steps above what all the other soft-sits get that just sit there. Because I'll tell you what, if they took a lawyer, right, and the lawyer sat there and didn't say anything the whole trial, they'd be like, what the fuck, bro? Why are you not talking? Why are you not defending me? They could like sue for ineffective counsel, but then they'd insist on representing themselves, and then they don't even say anything. They just sit there. That's hilarious to me. I mean, more power to them. The silent defense, I guess. But yeah, but you're not supposed to do that. This is like one of those times where you say, I'm going to speak up as often as possible, challenge the credibility of every single witness and every single piece of evidence being brought across my face. I don't care how hard I have to scrutinize this evidence. I'm about to do it. Yeah, I've got to put some kind of doubt in the jury's mind. Not just, yeah, sure, go ahead and say whatever you're going to say, and we'll just accept it as truth. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also saw your comment. Yeah, same thing Skeptic says. I wasn't saying, she was great. She's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I was just expecting her to be like, what color shoes was I wearing? Why was that relevant? Just, dumb questions that didn't have anything to do with the case. So at least she was I was just pointing that, she was talking about her bag, just talking about what was found. She didn't do anything to help herself, but, she didn't get herself held in contempt yet.
Yeah. And hey, I was actually agreeing with you, Rob. I was just saying, like, you're actually right. That's completely ineffective. Like, if a lawyer did that as far as her defense, you would look at him and go, what the fuck are you doing? Get up there and ask us questions. But I was just saying, like, I agree with you. They're just ineffective. They should never represent themselves. They're like, they go up there and they have no clue what to do, and they just sit there. It's almost like deer in headlights. They just pause, and they're like, okay, I guess not challenging anything the witness said is your defense. Okay, good job.
Why were you allowed to search my bag though? Like what? It was clear. You just said it.
And she was going around that, but she never like establishes a reasoning behind her questions to say, hey, you look at this evidence, which it would have been the most inappropriate time to do it. You're supposed to do that at the PCC, but or maybe I don't know, maybe you can do that after your PCC, and at a preliminary hearing. But they're well beyond that. All the evidence has already been submitted, and there's been no motion to keep that out. So she can't have them use it. She can't come back now and say, "Oh yeah, it was illegal." There was a time for that. Say, "Yeah, you can't put this in front of the jury because this was an illegal search and seizure."
Yeah. All right, let's knock these out. Cinnamon Stripper
right.
Cat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Is it dance time yet? Yeah. I'm not saying your name. Cinnamon
I
Stripper Cat.
practice. I practice. Cinematopropyltrimonium cat. I did it.
I hate you. I hate you.
I just did it.
Yeah, I know. You did it without stuttering too.
Cinematopropyltrimonium cat. Ooh, I
All
did
right,
it twice.
now go take a shot. Richard says go take a shot.
Oh man, no shots tonight.
Yeah, I haven't had one sip of alcohol since the last time we hung out. I don't know if I'm ever gonna drink again.
Yes, you will.
I will. Rob, thank you so
Wednesday
much.
afternoon.
Oh, we haven't announced that yet. That's coming
we'll do
up.
it at the end of the show.
All right. Rob, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate it. Welcome to the 5 new members. Ed, member for 6 months. Thank you, Ed. Team Skeptic. Yeah. Team Skeptic, why do you look like a tattooed Q-tip?
I've already answered the question with proper math because I'm
All
one
right.
half human, 1/3 Q-tip. That's why.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. And Becca, thank you so much for the 4 months. Now, okay, now I saw the response that you were good at math. Now it makes sense. Becca, thank you so much. All right. Anything else? You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
You still hear everything that you know what I'm saying? Yes. You no, like sorry, good evening, Lieutenant Grady.
Don't say that CTC. That's it. Miss Young. Miss Young. Officer Young. Officer Young. Officer Young. Ma'am. Officer Young. Officer Young. Officer Young. Are you okay? Officer Young, wake up. Are you okay? Officer Young, you okay? Okay. I need you to walk with me to the watch commander's office, okay? All right, come on. Do you need medical attention? Have you taken something that's affecting your performance at work? Are you on any illegal substances? All right, well, let's go to the office, okay? This your bag? I have. It's all right, you can. We have to call you in there.
I don't think we find that out. I think that was just to give them cause to search her for when she was saying that she was under the influence of something. Um, yeah, I don't know if it actually if it's confirmed what she actually took.
I
That
don't think that they can. I don't think she ever says they do a urinalysis on her,
okay.
and I don't know if I left that part in or not. I know it came back. I remember that it did come back for positive for marijuana on her urinalysis, but that doesn't mean anything. That just means she took it within the past month.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think she ever admits to taking any drugs. And I don't think her charge is under the influence either. So, uh, I don't think it's a relevant point, you know. I don't think that they make a relevant point of it. They get a lab test on what was found in her bag for sure.
Yeah. That is coming. Don't worry. Don't worry, Bebop. There's plenty of that here. Well, it's a long video. We're about 25% of the way through it. With Skeptic math, 25% times what? 4.5, and we'll be at about 75%.
It's going this way. There you go. Right down. Get down. Stand right down. That's it.
Correction, Big Booty Starfish. I'm always nude when I stream. That's why I'm not on camera. So I'll put clothes on if I gain 1,000 subs this stream. How about that?
Gross.
I like the just bro.
Kennedy. Yeah. Come here for a minute.
That email address will pop up. And you can type in the workers' comp, go to two, and then try to get it pop up. And just make sure, go ahead and scan it, that's on the way, yeah, they gonna start. Yeah, I want you to do a copy. Yes, yes.
Ms. Jones? Ms. Jones? See the watch commander, please. Do you want to come? This is Lieutenant Grady, Fulton County Sheriff's Office. I was concerned while we were meeting with Detention Officer Jay Young in the captain's office. I smell what's assumed to be marijuana coming from this bag. I must state for the record that Detention Officer Young has crossed the guard line of the Fulton County Sheriff, which gives me the right to search her property. She has the contents of a Cracker Jack bag. She has a hers bag. And as I'm looking, I see this ball, and it smells to be very strong eminent of marijuana. And I see in this pouch some pills of suspected MDMA. They're colorful pills that are here. There are various items that are in the bag. I'm going to open the contents of this bag, this black ball that was found in the bag of Jadon Young. Here's a credit card. Right now, she was brought down to the captain's office because we saw that she appeared to be on some type of intoxicant. So I'm going to cut into, you'll hold this for me. I'm going to torch this. I'm going to cut into this black pouch here, which does have a heavy latent smell of marijuana and tobacco. Of marijuana. Try to get this open here. I'm currently located within the Fulton County Jail in the Watch Commander's office. Currently holding the camera for me is Sergeant Hudson. As I'm unwrapping this ball, I'm unwrapping what appears to be marijuana. It's a green leafy substance based upon my knowledge, experience, and training. White wrapping papers. I also we have some other items in the what the captain. So this is what we have here. It's a pouch of what looks to be like tobacco, a moistened tobacco substance. At this time, I'm going to hold this here. I'm going to get a property and evidence container, and I also have these pills as well. We're going to put this in evidence. Let me get a property and evidence back so we get a property evidence. Stand by.
This girl here. Give me your camera. Give me my phone so I can take a picture.
You take mine? You get mine?
Yeah, I can.
It's you know,
Huh?
This small pouch was also containing the purse of Officer Don Young. We have, based on my experience in training, this appears to be white bars, which is indicative of shapes of Xanax tablets. These unknown gummies and pills of unknown origin or substance. We're going to place these items inside of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office property and evidence bag to be contained and turned over to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office property and evidence bag. I'm gonna put it through.
They count them when they get here.
But we're just gonna put it in the same keeping until, we're not gonna steal it. The same keeping. That's just the same, so put that in there. Yeah. Again, so you have this. Again.
Well, then, they'll figure it out when they get here. I don't know what this. Just ask to see who, I don't know, none about that. Possible, that's okay. It's about this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm gonna turn this item into the graduation. You know, let's see them. Yeah, it was all in that bag, that's why I took it out.
And Captain Grady, are you familiar with the oath taken by detention officers at the Fulton County Jail?
Yes, all deputy sheriffs and all detention officers take a oath of office.
And does that oath of office, in addition to swearing not to commit any criminal offenses, does it also include a provision about reporting any wrongdoing?
I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure it is,
Okay.
or something to that effect.
One moment, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm finding yourself.
I'm doing well. You worked with the unit. Can you describe the unit that you said you worked with at the Fulton County Jailhouse?
JIU, Jail Investigation Unit.
What was their purpose again?
Investigate corruption,
Okay.
officer wrongdoing, inmate abuse, gang issues.
Okay. Are you usually there when contraband is found, particularly? Or do they call you particularly if that happens?
It varies. When I was in command of that unit, my hours were non-traditional.
Okay. Does the weed smell usually tend to be potent over time? Does it lose its smell?
It depends on the potency of marijuana.
Okay. Have you ever observed me during roll call being under the demeanor that you saw me on body camera footage?
Not that particular day, no.
Okay. And on any day, have I ever been in that demeanor that you saw me on body camera footage?
No, but you were that day.
Okay. I was in that demeanor during roll call, staggering and not able to hold myself up?
I don't remember that particular roll call session. I don't. After 16 years, I've attended thousands of roll calls, so I don't remember that particular one.
Okay. Have you ever been suspicious of me smelling like weed or bringing anything under the jail or inside of the jail?
Not to my recollection.
Okay. If I may ask, why did you retire?
Why did I retire?
Mhm.
I was asked to join the command staff of my current agency to assist that current sheriff in running his jail operations.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Have you ever had to deal with any type of issue relating to this nature with any other female detention officers by chance, male or female, but particularly female?
We've had issues of contraband dealing with staff before.
Would you be able to tell me, like give me a number of how many? Could you count it on your hands or is it too many?
There have been quite a few cases with contraband with staff at the Fulton County Jail.
Okay. Do you have any personal relationships with anyone, whether it be intimate or friendship at the Fulton County Jailhouse outside of the jailhouse?
Yeah. Not
Under-
relevant.
Yeah, under relevance, Ms. Young, do you have any reason why you think this is relevant? And if not, I'll sustain the objection.
I'll take the question away. When I was first hired and we were going through orientation, were you present with all the other sergeants and captains when we were doing our walkthrough of the jail, the tour?
I'm pretty sure I would have shown my face to new staff. That would be normal. Introduce who you all will be working with.
Have you ever heard any ranking officer or inmate call me out for the way that I walk?
Not to my recollection.
Okay. Does the Fulton County Jail offer services as far as therapy or counseling of any sort?
Yes.
What, do you know the name of it?
Yes.
Or where I would be able to go to get that?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that one of your captains threw me a baby shower at the Fulton County Jailhouse?
Yes, Your Honor, it's the relevance.
Agreed. Ms. Young, unless you want to Prof, for where you think this is going, I don't see the relevance, so I'd
It's
sustain that.
going towards the point that I'm trying to make.
All right. Yeah, let's do that.
Hey, Colin, pause it right here. Okay. So I want to break in here because I want to explain what's going on because I cut a little bit of this out. So she has a defense to all this, right? She has a defense. Her defense is there's a conspiracy to force her to bring all these drugs in. Okay. And so that's where this line of questioning that goes out of nowhere. Are you familiar with this baby shower that was thrown for me? And he was like, what? So I cut it here because the judge and the attorney and the sovereign citizen go back to discuss why this is important. And so he doesn't allow her to continue, but they push the motion off. So they'll come back to the objection. He doesn't allow her to continue, but they're going to readdress this objection after this defendant. Excuse me. I just wanted to bring y'all up to speed as to what's going on and why this question out of left field just came in and what's about to happen so that you know what's going on. All right. Hey, that's all.
All right. Let's catch up while we're paused. Thank you. No, I'm not going to say it. Cheshire Cat. You want to give that name a chance there, Skeptic?
Yeah, it's actually not that hard. That's Flotchen now sin pilification.
Yeah, what he said. Anyways, Cheshire Cat, thank you so much. Another Squid, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. Welcome to the 5 new members. Thank you so much, Another Squid. Cheshire Cat, $5 super chat. I feel like binge watching Cheech and Chong Half Baked and Super Troopers right now. Love you both, Colin. Team Skeptic. And yes, Team Skeptic, I did the same thing for you, my man. Cheshire Cat. Does that mean you're leaving? If it does, have a great night, Cheshire Cat. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. And Carla for the $5 super chat. Thank you, Carla, for whiskey fun for next time Skeptic and Colin stream together. Yeah, that happened. That was a choice that I made. Carla, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, let's go.
Let's go.
All right, the objection is sustained. Ms. Young, you can ask your next question.
There are Fulton County metal detectors at the front of the Fulton County jailhouse, right?
Yes.
Would they be able to pick up anything as far as the contraband that was assumed to be found on me, on the personnel?
Non-metal.
So anything metal would be found, but no contraband would be found.
Correct. Metal objects would detect.
Okay. You said that you got a call from a Sergeant Williams stating that you had a DO that was extremely ill or intoxicated on the floor. At any time, did you call EMT services or was EMT services provided to me?
I believe so. I didn't make the call. I don't know if I made the call directly, but I believe medical services were provided for you.
Okay. You initially smelled weed on my bag before or after you conducted your search? Was it when I was in the office on your body camera footage? Did you smell it then? Did you smell it during roll call? When did you first start smelling the weed on me or in my bag?
If I may clarify, as a law enforcement administrator, we don't necessarily use the word weed. We call it marijuana, suspected marijuana. I smell suspected marijuana on you when you arrived to the watch commander's office. And that's when I was on the body camera giving my suspicion and declaration as to whom I was and why I was conducting the search. For the record and on body camera, when I smelled the suspected marijuana on you and on your belongings.
Okay. And you also noted that you yourself noticed I wasn't myself. And that is correct. Right.
You
Okay.
you appeared to be intoxicated, or something was going on with you that was not your normal self.
Okay. You also stated that I may have taken Benadryl. If you, as you stated, if you didn't think that I was having side effects of Benadryl, why wasn't further medical attention sought before the search was conducted? I was made to walk from the office upstairs all the way to the captain's office, staggering. There's clearly no one helping me. There was a video of Captain Sergeant Williams holding my arm at one point, but there was no one escorting me, helping me. And if I was in a real dire situation and that was how it was handled.
All right, sustained. We need to break that up into questions.
Gotcha. If you didn't think I was having side effects from Benadryl, why didn't you seek did you seek further medical attention for me?
Well, I know that the question of Benadryl was brought up by you, but in my line of work and my years of experience, you appear to be more so under a drug-induced or intoxicated of alcohol. Yet you were able to walk to the watch commander's office. Had you stumbled or fallen or something, I would have taken more direct action in having medical personnel to meet with us at that particular location.
So with how I was, how my demeanor was, you didn't think I needed medical attention, being that I could just walk the way that I was walking?
Medical attention.
Answer.
Noted. Overruled at this time. You can answer the question if you recall it.
I think you had enough strength to walk, and then we later called for medical service and attention for you.
Why wasn't that medical service recorded on anyone's body camera?
I'm not sure about why it wasn't recorded. I can't answer that.
So throughout this whole duration, the only time that was recorded was when the assumed narcotics was found on me, or assumed contraband was found, and not during when EMT was called?
I wasn't present for that, so I would not be able to answer that if I wasn't present for it.
Okay. Are you aware that my bag was left out of my sight more than 2 times throughout my shift from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.?
Your Honor, seems facts not in evidence.
He can either answer the question or he cannot if he knows it. So overruled.
So I will answer the question. At my rank as a lieutenant, I'm not responsible. Do I oversee a person's property or their purses or their wallets? It's reasonable for me to assume that my personal belongings would be with me and in my sight of view at all times.
Okay. But you are aware, or you are not aware?
I am not aware that your property was not in your presence.
Okay. Is it mandatory for every detention officer to have a radio and a body camera on their shifts?
That would have been policy of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office Jail Division.
Okay. Did you notice if I had a body camera on or in my radio?
I didn't recall, but I do know at the time radios were issued, so you would have to go check one out, and body camera will be checked out and issued to you at roll call.
Okay. Would there be a record of a sign-in sheet, perhaps, if you can recollect, I'm sorry, let me rephrase the question. Would there be record of how many times someone was given equipment or not given equipment via a sign-up sheet that you all had at the radio room?
I'll answer the question. As a deputy sheriff, all deputy sheriffs are assigned their equipment as take-home equipment. For detention officers will go to the radio room, check out a radio by issuing a chit or their agency ID, and it should have been a roster who signed one, and then that would be the same for the body camera as well.
Okay. Were the food and drink items they were thrown away? If you can recall, were they thrown away or were they ever tested for any narcotics?
I'm not sure.
Okay. In the bag, the clear bag, were there any notebooks or papers blocking view of the bag that could easily block pill bottles, perhaps, or anything small? Could you have clear vision of the bag? What was inside of the bag?
No, you had other items in the bag, and then the items that were discovered were in smaller bags within the clear bag.
Correct. Were the kill, excuse me, were the pills counted on body camera, or was there a picture taken of them, of the quantity, or was this just counted under your body camera footage?
I'm sure it would have been on the body camera footage and counted before property evidence would have collected the items for accuracy.
Because I did not see it on the body camera footage, is why I asked you. Because I can't tell the quantity of the evidence inside of the bag. It just looks like a big rock at this point. No further questions.
Any redirect?
Briefly, Your Honor, Captain Grady, in your search of the defendant's bag, did you find any prescription pill bottles?
I don't recall any.
Okay. Did you find any container marked with Benadryl or anything that appeared to be Benadryl in her bag?
No, just the drugs that we discovered.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, any recross on those points only?
Yes.
All right.
At any time, did you get a clear and concise answer from me stating that I was under the influence of Benadryl? A clear, concise answer, not a mumble or.
I don't recall exactly how you utter it. It's been 4.5 years now.
Right. Did you watch the same body camera footage that I watched just now? Your body camera footage?
Yes.
Did you hear me say that I was clearly and concisely? Did you hear me say that I took a Benadryl?
Something to that effect.
Okay. No further questions.
All right, can this witness be excused?
Yes, sure.
You may step down.
All right.
And let me
Up in here.
move on now.
Okay, so now we're done with Lieutenant Grady. All right, a couple things there. Yes, she did ask some actual good questions there. She did. She established some a basis for an argument, for defense, for culpability, saying, hey, how do you know that's mine? But there's a problem. And, we won't get to the problem until the end, of course. It was already in my video, so it's not like I'm going to spoil the surprise. But she never shows up to closing arguments, nor does she present a case for her own self. She actually absconds in the middle of trial and doesn't come back until the jury's already deliberating. So all those good questions she was asking were for nothing because she doesn't even get a chance to argue the points.
It still kind of blows my mind that she was allowed to just walk out. I mean,
Well, she wasn't. That's the thing, is that she was okay. So she was on bond, so of course she can freely move.
right.
So they went into recess.
Yeah.
That was she has free movement. They told her come back in 15 minutes, and she came back and
2 hours
two and a half hours later. Yeah, and then bad
She
move.
had to go take some Benadryl.
I honestly, I mean, we'll get to it. I don't want to give my opinion on that right now. We'll get to it in this video. But I just wanted to agree with the audience. Yeah, that was there were some really good questions asked there. And she could have maybe had one or two of the charges dropped or thrown out. Or even found not guilty,
Yeah,
if she had an opportunity to argue the points of the, using the answers she got from the Lieutenant Grady.
Yeah, she just has to have one juror agree with her and hold out and get a hung jury.
And then there's, oh my God, these guards, man, their English is just as bad as sovereign citizens. He said, and that one thing, there were 3 things that he said that I was sitting back going, what the hell? Why would you say that? He said there was a smell of weed that was imminent from a bag. And I was like, imminent? Like, I don't know if that's the word you meant to use. And then he said there was a strong latent smell. And I was like, wait, that'd be like there was a big small rock. And then there was another thing he said that I was just, towards the end, I was just like, okay, man, God. Like, I hate criticizing people on it, but those are like, you're on trial here, giving testimony. you probably should be using, or at least not getting simple words wrong, like Leighton.
Hey, but his voice was nice. It was soothing. It almost put me to sleep a couple times.
Yeah, I know, right?
Legal Fiction. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Chuck's Kids Beer Fund. On that note, Chuck, you know what? I wanted to make a post about this. Chuck was able to fully pay for his attorney.
Yeah,
he,
yeah.
he sent
Yeah.
me a picture of him giving the check to his attorney. So
Yep.
that is awesome news.
I'm gonna give an official update on Wednesday. We're doing a live stream on Wednesday, people. Lindsay Dineski thing. We'll talk about it at the end of this stream. But yeah, we're doing a live stream on Wednesday on my channel, and I plan on updating everybody on the Chuck situation.
Perfect.
So, like giving a more detailed update. But yes, Colin is right. He did pay off his lawyer, and that was thanks to you guys. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, everybody.
What time? Oh, that will be probably 11 a.m. Central. So noon New York, 9 a.m. California.
I don't even remember what time she's on the docket for the. Isn't she on for
1.
11? Oh, it's 1. Okay.
Yeah,
It's 1. Okay.
So we're gonna start at 11. Have just some like little chat and chill, and prepare, and then we're gonna go straight from that into whenever she comes on screen. It's go time, baby.
Yep. I don't know why I'm so excited. I'm excited. Sparkle Poots, thank you so much for the super chat. Should Colin ever drink while streaming again? Jedi will make him a Padawan. No,
Yes.
she'll make me a Padawan.
No. Hey, I had such a good time with him drinking. Stop it, mods. They're all looking out for Colin right now, and I'm like, nah, stop looking out for him. Let him have a drink with me.
Dwight, thank you so much for the 4 months. I appreciate it. Loved every minute of it too. Thank you, Dwight. I do appreciate it. Team Skeptic Cat, the Clouder has been alive since the FE days. Oh, the Flat Earth days. I am not missing those days, even though it was entertaining. It was entertaining, but I'm kind of glad that's kind of passed. That gave me too many headaches. Another squid, thank you so much. I've been caught smuggling drugs into the prison where I work. Should I claim incapacity? Nah, stop sitting pro se. That's the ticket.
Yeah.
Hey. Phil, thank you. Fizzy fruit drink for Colin's next live chat for Skeptic. Thank you, Phil. I do appreciate it. All right.
All right. So, like I said, we're about to get back into it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, she's gonna try to. They're gonna recover the motion or the objection. Okay. So of course the judge ruled against her in the objection that he ruled for the state, and she had to stop asking that line of questioning. But they also were retaking up the objection because she's intending to continue the line of questioning with the next witness. So they were like, okay, well, we're sustaining the objection for this witness, but now between witnesses, she's gonna speak to the judge about why she thinks this is relevant. So of course, this is her way of trying to say, I did it because of this reason. So now she's abandoning the I didn't do it and saying I did it because of this reason. Now this is not in front of the jury. So this is all in between, the jury's taking a break right now. It's in recess. So go ahead.
All right.
Just wanted to catch everybody up.
All right, thank you for that. And Sally, yeah, you're right. There are still flat earthers. So I mean, I don't think that it's not dead. It's just I don't know. I don't feel like it's mainstream anymore, for people to be covering flat earthers. Now, soft sit's kind of the thing. That's going to pass. There's going to be a new thing here probably in a year or two. We'll see. All right, let's go.
I want to perfect the record just in case it wasn't clear during the bench conference. There was an objection made. Ms. Young wanted to go down a line of questioning related to some previous experiences that she has claimed, specifically, I think, a form of sexual assault, maybe references to a lack of therapy. And my ruling was that I had not seen any reason or relevance of that. Those sound like arguments of mitigation of why perhaps you're not as culpable as as the state might allege, that you should receive a lesser sentence if you're guilty of these offenses. But the issues here for the jury to determine are the issues of fact, of whether you did in fact commit any of these offenses. And I haven't seen how a previous sexual assault or a lack of therapy essentially bears on determinations of this at all. But if you want to further argue that or be heard on it, now's an opportunity for you.
When I first hired Leaf Howard as my lawyer, he was told of the instance multiple times. I'm not sure as to why you all didn't get it. I was not familiar at the time of the court's process and who I needed to reach out to. I let him do his job, but it was not to my recollection that they did not know of what happened to me. But yes, there was a night that I went door. Are you asking me to?
No, I don't really.
Yeah,
I'm trying to stay big picture, which is what is the reason why the jury needs to hear about this?
Well, I don't know who the person was that came after me. Not only did they come after me, but they had a Polaroid picture of me carrying my son to my friend's house. It had a blue blanket, had me with my black outfit on, and I had on a headscarf that I always wear outside. When I saw that picture in the midst of what was happening to me, not only on the day that Captain Winfrey, I don't know if she's still captain, but at the time, she threw me a baby shower. Even when I first started working there, I was called out by, I believe, Captain Winfrey. Captain Winfrey
is who we just heard from.
No, that was Grady.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. That was
Okay, so yes,
Lieutenant Grady.
it's been a minute. I'm trying to remember names, but she threw me a baby shower at the jail. And when I first started walking there, I was called out for the way that I walked. I walked like I'm a model or twitching my butt or something. And that put me on the spot for everybody in 6 North. So there is no way for me to know if it was because of the baby shower, because she invited my mother and father without my knowledge too. And if I had any knowledge that she would do that, I would not have invited my parents there, because I keep my work separate from my family for this reason. My son was in danger. I was in danger. And there was a instance that happened in the car. But I got chlamydia from that situation. I found out a couple days after the baby shower.
Okay, I'm just trying to break this down. Is it your claim that someone from an inmate in the jail or another employee there
that may have
did
possibly
the sexual assault?
That may have been the one to do. I don't know who the person was.
Where did it occur?
I tried calling DoorDash to get in contact to see if I can get it, because I called customer service. I parked my car, but I didn't lock my doors. I was having issues with the internet.
Let me rephrase. Did this incident happen inside the jail or outside of the jail?
Outside the jail, but I was working with Fulton County at the time.
All right, so the objection came, you were asking Lieutenant Grady whether he had some awareness of a baby shower and that sort of thing. Do you have any reason to believe that he did?
Because if he's aware of the baby shower.
No, that's not my question, not if he is. Do you have any reason to believe that he was aware of the baby shower or your sexual assault?
I would think he does know about the baby shower, because they're all connected. They're always talking, having meetings and whatnot. And it was a surprise to me. So it's like, how else would you get my personal information if you maybe talk to my supervisor, maybe talk to my captain? We've had issues in the past as well, nothing detrimental, but I still need to know where it could have came from. Anybody. It could have came from Captain Winfrey. It could have came from Lieutenant Grady. It could have came from the inmate.
What could have come from them?
If my family was invited to the jailhouse, they could have been followed back. Someone could have been like, here's her information. Because with that situation, me being touched, I was forced to bring whatever they wanted into the jail, because they have a picture of my son. Who knows if the next picture might be him at his daycare or me coming into my house. My father.
Okay, I understand. So any position of the state, I mean, I'm just trying to focus on process procedure here.
Right.
The things that Ms. Young is saying, I think that if she chooses to testify, she can go into them.
I agree, Your Honor, but I think at this point, I don't think there's sufficient basis for her to ask witnesses regarding some type of baby shower. I'm just not clear as to the nexus or the sequence of the events that would make it relevant at this particular point in the trial.
Okay. I agree with you there. What we're focused on is, I mean, at this point, I don't think it would be, maybe this additional, I think you said lieutenant that's coming may have knowledge of this potentially that she could ask about.
That is the person who threw the baby shower
The
initially.
person who's coming next.
Yes.
Okay, well, glad we're talking about it now then. All right, well, I think then you can ask this next witness some of these issues. You're going to have to be careful with your phrasing. I think
Right.
the state's objection to facts, not in evidence, is one that could very well come again.
Okay.
And we'll see where that takes us. With that, state may call its next witness.
Hey, pause it
State
real quick.
calls,
Pause it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you
I
to
wanna
clear that up
say-
for us.
So this is really funny. Like everybody in the fucking chat is awesome. But Bodegard just right now just said slow clap for the STD defense, right? Like it's becoming pretty commonplace for fucking soft sits to use the STD defense. I don't know what's going on over there, but yeah, like that whole thing. When you watch this back later, or when you're remembering, you're like, oh, there was something funny Skeptic said, go back and watch. What was it? It was that. I want you to go back and rewatch that again. Now that you've already heard it one time, go back and listen to it a second time and realize she never completes a thought. There's about 5 to 7 defenses she makes in that. There was a baby shower. There was some sexual harassment that went on. There was a Polaroid of her kid. Her mom and dad were brought to the baby shower. Like, she never completes the thought. She just starts to say, oh, and by the way, there was also this. And also, by the way, there was also this. And also, by the way, there was also this. You know, it's like, finish the thought. Why is this important? And then she even goes back. She got, they had a Polaroid of my kid. Like, I don't believe her. Of course, I think she's lying. And I think that's like when she was trying to come up with which lie she was going to tell, she just thought, I'll start with all of them and I'll see which one lands. And none of them landed. But she did try to use all of them at one time in one incoherent thought.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I was waiting for her to say the Earth was flat.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Captain Yolanda Winfrey to the stand.
Oh, and this is the best part.
First name is Yolanda.
Watch this. Hold on. Y'all have to watch this because this is the best part. All right, go ahead. I don't know if it's if I actually play any of this lady's testimony or not, but the best part's coming up, okay? After that complete incoherent thought. All right, go ahead, Colin. I'm sorry.
Yolanda. Last name is Winfrey. Winfrey.
Captain Winfrey, where are you employed?
Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position?
I'm a captain over the South Annex facility.
And turning your attention to May 4th of 2021, what capacity, what job did you hold at the Fulton County Sheriff's Office?
I was the watch commander for the 11 and 7.
On that date, did you have the occasion to come in contact with the defendant, Jadon Young?
Yes, ma'am.
And how did defendant Young come to your attention that day?
One of my officers, which is Sergeant Williams, informed me that Miss Young was upstairs on the 5th floor and she wasn't answering her radio or the telephone. And she informed me that she may be upstairs asleep.
When you saw defendant Young, what was her demeanor? How did she appear?
She was disoriented. She was leaning over. When she came into my office, she flopped down in the seat. She was slumped over. She was going in and out. She was slurring her words.
Okay, and did you question her regarding whether or not she took something?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what was her response?
She gave me several different stories, but she did say she took Benadryl.
And what did you do after she told you that?
I asked her where was the bottle to the Benadryl. You sure you took Benadryl? Because Benadryl doesn't really make you act like you're acting. And she kept saying she took the Benadryl and she took the Benadryl because she was on her menstrual, but you don't take Benadryl for menstrual cramps.
Okay. And so did that raise some alarms to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Hey, how you doing? Just stating on the record, I do have the wrong person. This is not the
Yeah.
person that was, wrong name.
Yeah, she didn't even have the right person.
You asked me multiple times what I took, and I told you Benadryl. Was that a clear and concise answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I told you that I had a Benadryl bottle in my bag.
You told me you took Benadryl, and I asked you, could I see the bottle?
Okay. Why did you continue asking me, besides regarding my safety, while I was incoherent, and especially while getting different answers? Why did you continue to ask me the same question?
Because I needed to know what was going on so I can call EMS. I didn't know whether you were going to pass out on me or anything. You could have went unconscious or anything. I need to know what you had taken.
Okay. Is the EMT call on body camera at all?
It wasn't on mine. I don't know. We have cameras throughout the jail, and we have cameras in the cafeteria. I'm pretty sure it's on there.
So while dealing with me in that state of mind, you didn't have your body camera? You didn't think it was a good idea to have your body camera on?
I didn't have my body camera on, but my officers had their body cameras on. I don't have to wear my body camera.
Were your officers present while EMT was in the cafeteria?
Another officer was present. I can't remember what her name was.
Is that officer here present today?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Is it mandatory to have body cameras and radios on your shift, regardless of your rank?
Not for the captains, no ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So you didn't have a radio or anything?
I had a radio on, yeah.
Just the
of
radio.
course. Mhm.
Okay. Is there, or would you have any knowledge of any body footage, perhaps of the ride, the visit, and the departure to Caduceus from any of your officers?
No, I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't know?
But I'm pretty sure Caduceus had a camera somewhere that saw us come in.
Okay. You saw the same report that I just saw that tested positive for marijuana, correct?
Ma'am.
Okay. Was there anything else positive from the list that could have been in the evidence that was being stated?
Not that I know of. I only seen one positive thing, and it said marijuana.
Okay. Would you know how much, perhaps 15, I'm not sure with the measurements, 15 ng/milliliters? You know how much that would be for THC levels? Okay. Are you normally around people who smoke marijuana or have ingested marijuana? Have you ever been in that type of crowd, whether it be at work, school, anywhere?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My demeanor, would you compare my demeanor with someone who smoked marijuana like that before? Or would that be different? Would that be a different outcome or different demeanor from your experience?
Your demeanor was abnormal, so it could be from you smoking marijuana, could be from you taking other pills. I don't know. I'm not a
Okay.
doctor. I can't really tell you that.
Right. From your personal experience, though, have you ever seen anyone that smoked weed act in the demeanor that you saw me acting in?
Yeah, I see them like that every day in the jail.
The inmates?
Yeah.
So the inmates smoke marijuana every day?
Hey, I don't know what they smoking, but
So if
they act that way.
So they act that way, but you don't know for sure if they smoke marijuana every day
Don't
to
know.
get the answer that I'm
I
seeking.
can't tell you what they were smoking, but
Okay.
it was an abnormal behavior.
Okay. So you wouldn't have it wouldn't look like I was under the influence of anything else but marijuana, or was I under the influence of marijuana from your experience?
Let's split up the question first, and we
Okay.
can hear one more time, just to clarify.
Have you ever come into view of anybody smoking marijuana before or ingesting marijuana?
I think we have covered that.
Okay.
So let's go to the next question.
From my demeanor that night, would you compare my demeanor to someone who's smoked marijuana in your presence before?
The way you were acting as lazy, yeah.
Okay. No further questions.
Can you redirect? what I would propose, maybe not the full hour. We could come back at 1 o'clock unless there are any strong feelings. And until we see you back at 1, remember not to do any research about this case other than what you learned in this courtroom, and not to discuss the case with anyone, including amongst yourselves. We'll see you at 1 o'clock. All right. The state having rested, are there any motions on behalf of the defense at this time?
Yes.
And what is your motion, Ms. Young?
I'm seeking administrative remedy, awaiting communications to be delivered to the correct parties.
All right. Anything further you want to have on the record?
No, that's all.
All right. To the extent that is a motion, it is denied. At this time, Ms. Young, I have to ask you a few questions about whether you have any evidence that you would like to present. So,
This is where she starts going like
let me
full
first
sovereign citizen
ask
right
you,
here.
do you understand?
Yeah,
Hey, pause
she,
it. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. She just said something along those lines, but
Yeah.
we're about to hear it now.
So I left this part in for everybody that's watching, 396 people, yes. For you people right here, because for you guys that listen to me in my video and swing by, or the people that would always be here, I put this in here and didn't put this in my video because I wanted to leave just a little bit of meat on the bone to give you a reason to come back over here. So this is where her sovereign citizen really starts to come out.
All
You
right, let's go.
people. That's right, you people, legal fiction.
You people.
And that you have a right to testify. And if you want to testify, then no one can prevent you from doing so.
She understands.
All right. And do you understand that no one can make or compel you to testify? That is, do you understand that you have a right not to testify if you do not want to?
She understands.
You understand then that it's you personally who decides whether you testify, not anyone else.
She understands.
If you do not testify, then
All right, real quick. Is she saying she overstands?
I don't know if she's saying overstands. I thought she said understands, but she is referring to herself in the third person because, well, actually, she's not referring to herself in the third person. She's referring to the all caps named defendant. And she is the beneficiary to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of Moronico. Yeah, this is, I'm telling you, this is where it all comes out right here.
Yeah, and
This
we
is
still
when it's like,
have
oh,
we still
oh
have
yeah,
about 45 minutes left of the video too.
yeah, it ain't over. It's just where it starts.
Yeah. I think she is saying overstands. A lot of people in the chat are saying that that's what she's saying.
upon proper request, I will instruct the jury that that decision cannot be used against you. Do you understand that?
Understands.
But if you do testify, you'll be both examined by you'll give your own direct examination and be cross-examined by the state. Do you understand that?
She understands.
Do you need any additional time to think about whether you want to testify
Yeah,
or
I think
not?
you guys are right.
No.
Okay. Do you personally want to testify or not?
No, I'm not the defendant, so I wouldn't need to testify.
All right. And just to be clear, when the jury comes back at 1 and I ask whether the defense has any evidence to present, that means that no one will be going on this witness stand on your behalf and introducing testimony. Is that what you're saying to me?
I understand.
Well, not so much you understand. Is that accurate, that no one's going on this stand on your behalf to introduce and be sworn to give evidence to the jury?
I don't need a witness. I'm not the defendant.
Okay. All right. Then with that, I find that the defendant
Bold
has
strategy.
decided to not testify with a complete understanding of her rights as best I've explained them. And so with that, I believe the evidence would be closed in this case, which means that we would then move to the charge conference and then to closing arguments. And so let's reconvene at 1 o'clock for the charge conference. If you want to hold tight for about 5 minutes, I'll print off our proposed consolidated charges so that you can at least look through those in advance of the charge conference. And then at the charge conference itself, we can go through and tailor it. We would then combine it all, take out any titles or headings. Jury would then get a copy of that. Once we're done with the charge conference, does the state have, how much time does the state need to prepare for closings?
Now, I can prepare during the lunch hour, so I'm fine.
Okay, all right. Well, let me know if that changes. Ms. Young, any questions or motions or input on your end before we take a recess until the 1 o'clock charge conference?
No.
All right, we'll be in recess until 1 o'clock. All right, we are back on the record. I've been handed what I've labeled as Courts Exhibit 1, and which I'll tender for the record, which is the state's prepared redacted version of the indictment. This would be the indictment that goes back with the jury. It omits the former count 10 of bribery and renumbers. Other than that, is everything else the same?
I didn't hear that part. I'll stop it real
Any
quick.
objections?
So there
bribery.
was, I don't know. Maybe she was in there saying, I'll share some of my Benadryl. Just let me go.
They didn't talk about that at all, so they probably were already discussing dropping it. But I wonder why she was charged with it.
I don't know. I was gonna say this was new to me. I didn't even hear this the first time. I haven't been able to listen to every single bit of this because it was 5.5 hours long. So I listened to as much as I could. But yeah, bribery. Wow, that's a good one.
As to the redacted indictment from the defense.
I do have an objection.
All right, what's that?
I can just stay right here. Or do I?
Whatever you're more comfortable with, as long as we can hear you.
As a respondent, I had a duty to all complaints and questions because of the legal special relationship of the parties. And by not responding, the respondent is in breach of trust because of the infinite state and duty of care associated with therewith and thereto in an express trust. I do not accept your breach. The court and its officials are a legal title holder of not only the express trust, but also the constructive trust. As now have been placed on the record, I share the same or similar name as the defendant in their case number 23SC192047. However, for clarification, I am not in the capacity as the named defendant. I am the beneficial and equitable title holder. None of this information is foreign to the court, and this matter must proceed in equity. Failure to or refusal of proceeding in equity under exclusive jurisdiction will constitute in contempt of justice. That's all.
All right, to the extent there was a
That's
motion somewhere
weird.
in there, it is denied. I'll note on count 10, it references an
That's so funny. Yeah, he goes to the extent that there was a motion somewhere in there, it's denied.
Thank you for expressing that. We are all now dumber for have listened to that. May God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah. No, and there's a couple of funny things that he says throughout the day, like when she's like, when she says something like, "I need an answer now," and he's like, "You'll get your answer in a minute."
Yeah, no, that's at the very end.
Yeah, during sentencing.
attached Exhibit A, which is the oath. And I believe that would be considered part of the indictment as well. So why don't we get a copy of that to attach, and that'll also be part of Courts Exhibit 1. Courts Exhibit 2, which I'll tender for the record, would be the consolidated charge, includes the requests to charge, and as well as some non-request charge, and we'll go through that in just a moment. But I've been told the jury is back from the lunch break, and so what I think we should do now is bring them back and formally arrest for the record. All right, thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Please be seated. As we saw before we broke for lunch, the state had rested their case in chief, and so now we turn over to the defense, where the defense has the opportunity to present evidence. But because the state has the burden of proof, the defense it does not have to present anything at all. And so at this time, is there any evidence to present on behalf of the defense?
Yes.
All right, and what is that?
Respondent had a duty, putting this on the
All
record.
right, Ms. Young, that's not
Yes.
evidence unless you want to testify. So do you have evidence that you would like to present?
No, you're in contempt of justice, but no.
All right. So at this point now, the defense has rested, and so the evidence is closed in this case. So before we can begin closing arguments, there's again something that we have to do outside of your presence, which is make sure that we're all on the same page of the law that applies to this case that I then instruct you on. So that means we have to take, you'll have to go back and maybe another 20 to 30 minutes before we're ready for closing arguments. All right. Plan to give that. What was that, Ms. Young?
What did you say previously?
On page 19 or page 20?
20.
20 is the pattern charge, and I would give that without, I don't see any alterations.
Okay.
Response there?
Yes. It says that you may infer, if you wish to do so, that the acts of a person of sound mind and discretion are the product of a person's will, and a person of sound mind and discretion intends the natural and probable consequences of those acts. Whether or not you make any such inferences is a matter solely with the discretion of the jury. It is presumed, again, that I am the named defendant in this case, and I'm not. Under person.
Chuck had a pause it for Chuck. What's up, buddy?
What up,
Hope you have a great
Chuck?
night.
Yeah.
Personas, I forget how to say it. But I'm not the alias here. I'm not the defendant. I'm simply performing as the surety. And like I said, I'm awaiting your communications to be delivered to the correct parties. You have yet to receive yours, and neither has the clerk. And if this matter is not heard or refusal to proceed in equity under exclusive jurisdiction, because you did state for the record, this is exclusive jurisdiction, it will constitute contempt of justice. You're currently in contempt of justice by not allowing me to be heard in matters of equity and equity jurisdiction.
All right. To the extent that is an objection to the pattern charge on page 20, I'd overrule it. I find that is an accurate statement of law and is applicable to the evidence here. You do raise an issue of, I suppose, identification.
Yes.
And so there is a pattern charge on identification, which is 1.35.11, which reads, "It is for you to say whether, under the evidence in this case, the testimony of the witnesses and the facts and circumstances of the case sufficiently identify this defendant beyond a reasonable doubt as the perpetrator of the alleged crime. It is not necessary that the defendant show that another person committed the alleged offense." And it has some other language. So, are you requesting that pattern charge be included?
I'm requesting that.
It's really a yes or no on this question to you, and then I'll let you follow up. But do you want that pattern charge that I just read to you? That is the state's burden to prove identity.
No.
You do not want that?
Nope.
Okay. Is there something else you wanted to add?
The only thing I've said, I've acted as a respondent because I had a duty, and you're not acknowledging that duty. So no, that's all.
Okay. Does the state want to be heard on this issue of whether identity should be added here?
Your Honor, we don't have a problem with the instructions being added. There was adequate testimony by Captain Grady, who identified the defendant, as well as the body cam footage showing her at the jail. So we think identity has been established in this case.
I object.
Well, you've already said you don't want it in, and I don't know, is the state saying it should or should not be in there?
We don't have a problem with it being in, Your Honor. And the only reason I say that is because if the defendant in her closing argument suggests that she is not Jadon Young, then I do think it will be instructive for the jury to have that particular instruction.
Okay. I agree. I think that's where closing arguments may be headed. It's an accurate statement of the law. And so, Ms. Young, in your closing, would you be referring to the fact that you're not the person on this indictment and, that you can't be held accountable for this because they've got the wrong person?
Acting as respondent for the defendant, I have, excuse me one moment. Yes, as of now, I've been placed on the record again that I share the same alias or similar name as the named defendant, and I would just like to prove that I am not said defendant. in their case number 23SC192047. With that, I would really like to seek administrative remedy to await the communications to be delivered to the correct parties. And that would be my proof.
All right, noted for the record, and we will include the pattern charge of 13511 tailored to the evidence in this case to be part of the law that I charge. I'm going to place the redacted indictment, Court's Exhibit 1, and the verdict form, Court's Exhibit 3 on top of that. And then when we have the consolidated charge as Court's Exhibit 4, we'll include that in the stack. And that will be ready to go back to them when we complete the charge.
And Your Honor, may I place a
Yeah.
copy of the oath?
If you've already got it, yeah, just make sure you show Ms. Young that before you do so. I mean, it's a bit redundant since it's also Exhibit 1, but there you have it. All right, so based on what was just said on the record, is there any objection on behalf of the defense as to what would be going back in the jury room during deliberations?
I would say the oath of office, I object to it because that signature, I have to look over my own document again. My signature, if I'm not mistaken, I signed something else, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. That typed signature, I'm going to have to look at my document and make sure it matches because I'm not sure, I'm not too quite sure if that matches what I actually signed when I started working with Fulton County. And that's all.
All right, well, if that's all, the objection I'm hearing is to the authenticity of this document and whether it should be considered by the jury. That ship sailed when it was admitted and there was no objection. So those being the only grounds, then your objection is overruled and Exhibit 1 would be going back. Any other objections?
No objections.
All right. So we're holding in place until we have the consolidated version. That's going to take maybe a few more minutes. Are the parties requesting some additional time to prepare for closings?
Your Honor, state's ready.
I just need a brief bathroom break.
Of course. Do you need a PowerPoint or anything else like that?
I do, Your Honor. So what I would do is I would just take my laptop if I can with me to the podium and I'll just conduct it that way.
You're doing the closing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you're opening and closing?
Yes, I'm gonna do the close. So defense can go first and I'll do everything at one time.
All right. So the state's planning to reserve their first closing. And so what that means, Ms. Young, is you'd be up first when we come in and begin closing arguments.
Okay.
And so we'll just take 15, prepare what you need to, practice your PowerPoint, and just let the jury know about 15 minutes we'll be ready to go. We'll be in recess.
Thank you, Your Honor.
1:50. All right, we are now.
All right, pause it here. Yeah.
15 minutes ended up being 2 hours.
Yeah, and hey, I do want to say something, man. I want to give a shout out to Judge McAfee. This is awfully brave of him to rule against her, especially since he's in contempt of justice every time he does. Awfully brave of you, Judge McAfee, to put yourself in the line of fire like that for the Constitution. Good job, guy.
Yeah. I thought you were actually going to be serious for a second.
No, not at all.
All
No,
right.
okay. So yeah, okay, at this point, you heard the judge, he just said it. He said come back at 1:50. 15 minutes. So it's 1:35 it's 1:35 when she leaves or when they go to recess. And she knows she's supposed to be back in 15 minutes. She returns 2.5 hours later. All right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And everyone's really, no one cares. They just, oh, welcome back. We're so glad you could grace
Oh,
us
well,
with your
okay.
presence."
So also in this time, the defense, they discuss a few things. And I do want to ask a question of any of the lawyers out there and of the audience, because it's kind of a social question here. The judge does end up ruling in favor of the lawyer of the prosecution being able to use her abscondence as like a sign of guilt, as evidence of guilt. And the judge says, yeah, you can do that. You can say that in your closing arguments. I want to know, does that seem right? I don't think that seems right because I don't know. If they use that, let's say something did happen, she had a medical emergency, and then she gets found guilty because because the prosecution said, well, hey, she never came back, so she must have something to hide. So the judge does allow them to do that. I don't remember if they actually do it or not. I don't think they end up using that because the lawyer's like, I don't think we're planning on using it, but just in case we may bring it up. And I'm not sure that I remember hearing it in the closing argument because they had so much evidence against her anyway. So just I want the audience to let me know what they think.
Well, I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's in the closing statement, and just that you're just summarizing the case. You're saying exactly what this is what we prove. We want you to find her guilty. I I don't see why you couldn't just say, and she didn't. She left. She she showed her her respect for the court process. I feel like you could use that without actually use like without putting any evidence for it. It's like she's not even here. She doesn't even respect your time. Like
Yeah.
something like that, just to let them know, like, this isn't how court works.
Yeah.
She,
Well,
she
I mean,
feels like
I was just curious as to what, whether the lawyers out there, obviously they can do it. I believe the prosecution says that it's been used before and may even quote case law on it. And the judge is like, yeah, no, I mean, you can use that. But, and I use the wrong word. It wouldn't be evidence of guilt. It would be suggestion of guilt because evidence is presented during the trial, not during closing or during this part of the trial, not during the closing arguments. Just summarization of evidence. But yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to know. But you can go ahead if you want.
okay. Rob, are you talking about what I said? Apparently, I'm just causing mistrials left and right. Then, yeah, don't listen to me. Not a lawyer. All right. I got 2 super chats real quick. Both of them from Cheshire Cat. Colin, definitely not Cromwell. Now you can break the law. I have no idea. Maybe that made sense 10 minutes ago. I don't know. But thank you. I appreciate it, Cheshire. And then Cheshire again, to the big cat, you know what to do. R.I.P.
Shout
Big
out
Cat.
to the cat.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'll take a shot on Wednesday for the cat, Cheshire. Since I don't have any whiskey with me, I'll take a shot on Wednesday.
Okay, let's go.
Now, back on the record, the time is just before 2:05. It's about 15 minutes past when I instructed the parties to be back at 1:50 to begin closing arguments. The state is present. The defendant is not. I've asked our deputies to search the floor. They have. They have not found the defendant. They've also sent someone into the bathrooms. She is not in any of those. And we are also now trying to make a phone call. The only phone number we have is to her mother, who had previously conveyed a message for us Monday morning to have her here to start trial. And at this point, we're also going to review security footage to see if she walked out of the front door of the courthouse. But looking at her table, it looks like all of the papers and things that she came with are not here anymore. She left a jacket behind. But otherwise, all of her belongings are no longer here, from what I can tell. And we're now well after the time I told her to come back. She has not been spotted anywhere on this floor. And so I believe that she has now waived her appearance going forward through this trial, and we can proceed even in her absence under our case law. I would instruct the deputies at any point, if she shows up, she should be let in, and she can resume being here. But until she does reappear, we're just going to proceed. So, Mr. Miller, are you still ready for closing arguments? Then let's bring back the jury.
Is this for me?
All right, just real quick. I just want to ask Shane something. Shane, how are you feeling? Shane got really drunk on stream on Friday night. And
Shane.
yes, I haven't seen him since Friday night. So I'm just checking on him.
Hey, next time we do a little whiskey stream, we need to bring Shane up. Shane, you can come have a drink with us or 10.
Shane drinks about as much as I do, so his stream
Okay, or
appearance was
three,
very
or
similar
three.
to what mine was.
Oh,
All right.
I'm not proud of it. I'm laughing at myself here, guys. I'm laughing, but I've had some pretty drunk on stream moments where I was not very proud the next day. I was waking up going, why would I even do that? Like, what did I do that for?
Yeah, it's always a worry too. You don't want to piss people off, but something like there's a fine line between fun, funny, and being too
Bro,
stupid.
you're
And
talking to the wrong person. It's like, oh
you're
yeah,
right.
I don't want to
All right,
piss
Mr.
anybody
Mancini.
off. Like my problem is this right here. I have zero filter. So I just do whatever the fuck I want. And I think people love that about me. You know, I don't want to say that's why they like me, but I think that's one of the things they like about my live streams is that I really don't have any filter. I just whatever the fuck I want to say, I say it. I say it how I want to say it. That's going to piss a lot more people off that I will say what I feel and I'll say it in the way that I want to say it because hey, you know, some people just don't like fucking people that curse a lot like me. Fuck.
That's true. That is true. You can't make everyone happy, but you can make everyone equally unhappy. Do your
Oh
thing.
man, I am fucking professional make people unhappier.
Oh, okay. Well, she's back. She's back. She showed up right on time.
Yeah,
is
right.
this
Right on
hers?
time.
I
While
know
the
that
jury
is.
is
It's jury
deliberating.
charges.
Yeah, that's hers.
Yeah.
Your Honor, Ms. Boykin just went to the office, but she's on her way back now.
Okay. Well, I think we can go ahead and just put some things on the record that we need.
I need paperwork out my bag if that's possible.
Okay, one second. Okay.
All right, let's go back on the record. And first, I would like to perfect some information we received while we've been here on break during deliberations, which is that I requested
Thank you.
Lieutenant Lattimore to review surveillance footage to try and help us locate Miss Young, and he was able to see some footage. And so I'd like Lieutenant Lattimore to share with us for the record what he was able to view and what he observed, and then we'll go from there. So you can just describe that for me, Lieutenant Lattimore?
Yes, Your Honor. I was able to review footage of Ms. Young exiting the 136 checkpoint at approximately 1:51. And from the checkpoint, she proceeded down Prior Street, which is south of us, and made a left at Mitchell and Prior, and proceeded east on Mitchell up to Washington Street, where we observed her make a right turn. And at that point is when we lost sight of her movement.
And this is all through surveillance footage you're reviewing after the fact?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's several blocks away from the courthouse. All right. Miss Young, where were you going?
Before I answer that, I previously stated that you were in contempt of justice, because of failure or refusal to proceed in equity under exclusive jurisdiction. Did you not acknowledge that we were in equity jurisdiction?
If there's anything else you want to say, Miss Young, this is your opportunity to have it on the record. But I'm really not interested in getting into a back and forth. So if you had some kind of emergency come up or something else you needed to address, that's what I was kind of curious about. But otherwise, we're going to move on.
I did. I needed something to eat. I haven't really eaten since last night. I'm pregnant and I felt like I was about to pass out a little bit. I did kind of forget what time we had to come back. But I got a call from my mother stating that I was supposed to be back in an hour. So that was what took me so long, because I went to grab something to eat and I was going to come back. But after I got that call, I was like, okay, well, he did extend the time. But there was miscommunication there. So I apologize for that.
15 minutes. He said
Yeah,
15 minutes.
She's like, I
No-
couldn't
no
remember what time you told me. He didn't tell you. I mean, he did give you a time,
He did give you a time.
but
Yeah.
15 minutes. Like, if you showed up 20 minutes and was like, hey, I was in line I was sitting down to eat. My mind was going crazy about this conviction I'm about to have. And I just didn't realize the 15 minutes had gone by. I'm so sorry. I'm here 20 minutes. That would be understandable. But 2.5 hours later, that's not a damn. I forgot that you told me to be back 15 minutes. Shit. I'm sorry.
No, that looks like she's trying to run, and that's
No, I don't think she was trying to run because she came back on her own.
Oh yeah,
So there's two things that could have happened. Either she got in her head, I'm going to run, and then her grandmother talked her out of it and she eventually came back, or she knew that shit was about to hit the fan and she had to go take care of other types of business. She knew that she was about to be going away for a long time and not have an opportunity to get back out. So I think that she probably was going to smoke a little bit of something, maybe some weed or something to get her ready to go to jail forever, maybe do a little bit of fucking ecstasy with some fucking Xanax, and then go in there and just ride it out for the first, like 3 days being fucked up. And then she'll just spend the next, 14 years and 362 days sober in prison.
spoiler alert.
Oh, I'm assuming they watched my video already.
Oh yeah, good. You did say that earlier. I'm assuming they did too.
I'm seeing a lot of TTU, baby. TTU, baby.
TTU.
Your Honor.
All right, so I just want to break that down, which is it's now about 4:30, and I think they found you trying to re-enter the courthouse about 20 minutes ago or so closer to 4 o'clock. And so you believe that you got a call from your mother saying you didn't have to be back for an hour, and I think we called around 2 o'clock because we were trying to start closing arguments, as I'd indicated.
If I can look at my phone records, she called me and told me that I didn't have to be back until an hour because you all, the court, whoever called her. And I've updated my phone number, email address in the Odyssey system. So I'm not seeing why I'm getting reports that you all are calling my mother and my father instead of the phone number I gave.
All right.
Not their job
Well,
to call them.
I think we've put your explanation on the record. You can, and so that's all.
Absolutely.
He gave you a pre-call when he told you to be back in 15 minutes. He gave you a 15-minute heads up in-person pre-call. That's what happened.
15 minutes. You don't have enough time to do anything. Like, that's barely enough time to go smoke a cigarette. So I don't know why she thought she can go get something to eat. If that was the case, she could have asked the judge, like, "Hey, I'm really hungry. Do you mind if we make that an hour?"
And if you didn't, for those that may not have caught it, about 20 minutes ago in the video, the judge had said, "All right, the jury just came back from their lunch." It was at 1 o'clock they had come back from their lunch. So I believe it was 1 when they come back. So they had just done lunch. So everybody gets lunch. The judge took recess for lunch. So she already had an opportunity to eat. She was just looking to something. Like I said, either she needed to go take care of something knowing she was about to go to prison for a long time, or she was going to run and they talked her out of it. So she decided to just come back and face the inevitable, because she would have always been on the run until they had caught her, and then she still had to do her fucking prison time. So
yeah, Sparkle Poots, bless her heart. I can't do a Southern accent though.
But, bless her heart.
There we go. I knew you wouldn't let us down. Thank you, Sparkle Poots.
All well and good. However, I've lost confidence that we can expect you to appear on time for court proceedings, so I've revoked your bond. I've issued a bench warrant, and so you will be in custody pending the outcome of this trial. More to the present business at hand. No, it's not your turn, Ms. Young.
Oh, okay.
I do have Court's Exhibit 5, which I've marked and will tender for the record, which is a question from the jury. It states, and is available for inspection for the parties once I'm done reading it into the record. Is there any statutory minimum for possession of a Schedule 1?
Hey, Rob, you asked the question earlier about intent, and I said they were going to have a question from the jury regarding and the judge was going to answer. This is that question.
Schedule 2 or Schedule 4, respectively, where intent to distribute is presumed if you are in possession in excess of such amount. and it's signed by the foreperson. And so if either party would like to, if the state would like to see it, you can come up and grab it. And if Ms. Young would like to see it, deputies can take it to her.
This is a question from all jurors or specifically?
It's from the jury.
Okay. And though you're failing or refusing to proceed in equity under exclusive jurisdiction, you acknowledge that on the record as well?
All right. My proposed response to this would
Because
be
you can't deny
no,
that injustice.
and that I would just write on the note, no, and that we would refer them to their previous instructions. Technically, there is a presumed amount, but that's for trafficking, and that's not been charged in this indictment. They asked specifically about the intent to distribute, whether that's ever presumed based on the amount. As I understand it, it is not. So I think it would be an accurate statement of law to say no, and then just refer them to their previous charges. Any input? First from the state.
All right. If the jurors if the jury's asking that question, yeah, you're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, you're done. Like they're not asking, a question about, procedure.
That's-
No, they're asking.
That's an enhancement. That's basically that's an enhancement, and sometimes it can be like, well, if we don't convict him on this, are we able to convict him on this charge? And it's usually a lesser charge, but possession is possession. And then with intent to distribute is like a higher charge. That's possession plus some. So for them to be asking that question, you will immediately know, they've already at least got me on possession.
Yep.
Which also means they got her on crossing guard lines, which also means they got her on breach of oath of office.
Yep.
Which is also ironic because that's what they say every judge does. Fucking idiots.
Your oath of office.
And she did, and she's going to prison for it. That's what you get, you idiot.
Are they? So they say a minimum. Are they referencing a minimum sentence? An amount.
I take the question as a whole. It's a statutory minimum where intent to distribute is presumed. So I know we use minimum in reference to sentences, and that was my first impression as well. But reading it as a whole, it seems to be focused on the evidence of distribution and whether that intent can be presumed based on a minimum amount of drugs. And again, that's where I say the answer to that legally is no. There is no presumption. Our charges are simply, we can refer specifically to the with intent to distribute charge. Or actually, it really just says intent to distribute means intent to unlawfully deliver or sell. So maybe the actual relevant charge would be intent generally, which can be shown in many ways, whether it existed from the proven facts before you. It may be inferred by the proven circumstances or by acts and conduct. So actually, maybe what I would do is say no, and then just reread the intent charge, and then say that they should place no undue emphasis on this charge and only consider it in the context of the charge as a whole.
State agrees, Young.
All right. Any input from Ms. Young?
Yes. So you are not acknowledging the fact that you're in contempt of justice on the record, being that this is equity jurisdiction?
Anything else?
No, I need an answer, because being that I told you that your failure or refusal to proceed in equity, being that you acknowledge the equity jurisdiction, exclusive jurisdiction will constitute in contempt of justice. I've tried to show you as respondent to all complaints and questions because of the legal special relationship that I have paid on this account. I was about to go and e-file it into the system. Are you in contempt of justice? Are you recontracting?
Are you done?
No, I'm not. Are you recontracting the trust?
You remember what I told you at the outset of this trial, which is that if we started getting into
You
it, you
haven't
started
answered the
interrupting
question.
me. All right, Ms. Young, I'm going to find you in contempt of court.
Are you
and
in
I'm
contempt
immediately
of
imposing a
justice, though?
20-day sentence, no matter what happens as a result of this trial. And I'm directing you not to interrupt me any further, all right?
You asked me a question, but you didn't answer it.
I'm
So I'm
finding you
trying
in
to see how,
contempt a
as a
second
judge,
time, Miss Young. That is an additional 20-day sentence I'm imposing.
you can do as you please, because at the end of the day, you have no jurisdiction. You are in contempt of justice,
Please, if you could
and you
please
cannot
escort Miss Young
refuse.
from the courtroom.
Come
I
on,
find her
yeah.
as
You'll be hearing my
disrupting our
fee schedule. Let me
proceedings.
put this up.
I got that.
And you know you're in
Yes.
contempt of justice. It's okay. You'll be hearing my fee schedule.
We get a fee schedule.
All right.
I hope it's $1 billion.
Oh,
Please let
man.
it be $1 billion.
Well, she doesn't actually get an opportunity to express her. She says she's still preparing it, but you'll be hearing from her fee schedule. That's what she said. You'll be hearing from her. I made a joke in my video today. I thought was so good, and it's hard to hear her say it, but she goes, "You'll be hearing from my fee schedule," and I was like, "How the fuck is he gonna hear from your fee schedule when you won't shut the fuck up long enough for your fee schedule to speak?" Oh man, I had a really good time with this video. Yeah, it was exactly Sov's hit bingo on this one.
Yeah, bingo.
If we could bring back the jury.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah, you'll notice the defendant is not here yet again.
Yeah.
It's a common theme for this trial. The defendant doesn't like being in court. She's still watching though.
All zeros are present.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant Lattimore. Members of the jury received your note and your question. And in response to that, I would charge you. The answer is no. And I would also refer you to the instructions I provided you specifically that intent may be shown in many ways, provided you, the jury, believe that it existed from the proven facts before you. It may be inferred from the proven circumstances or by acts and conduct, or it may be, in your discretion, inferred when it is the natural and necessary consequence of the act. Whether or not you draw such an inference is a matter solely within your discretion. You should place no undue emphasis on this recharge or on this particular charge, and only consider it in the context of the charge as a whole. And with that, I would ask you to retire again to the jury room and resume your deliberations. All right. We're back on the record. I've been informed by Lieutenant Lattimore that the jury has reached a verdict, and Ms. Young is now present back in court. And Ms. Young, I will remind and direct you once again that there are not to be any verbal outbursts, and I'll allow you to perfect the record at the appropriate time, but that is only going to be when I call on you. So with that, we can bring in the jury.
All jurors are present, Your Honor.
Thank you, Lieutenant Lattimore. Please be seated, everyone. Members of the jury, I've been informed that y'all have been able to reach a verdict. And if that is the case, it appears that juror number 8 is our foreperson. All right, if you could hand that verdict form to the lieutenant so that I can take a look and make sure it's been completed. All right, and you can hand that back to our foreperson. And sir, if you could now publish the verdict in open court by reading it, you can remain seated and read it into the record.
Count one, possession of a Schedule I controlled substance with the intent to distribute, you find the defendant guilty. As to count two, possession of a Schedule I controlled substance, we find the defendant guilty. As to count three, crossing guard lines, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count four, possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to distribute, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count five, possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count six, crossing guard lines, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count seven, possession of a Schedule IV controlled substance with intent to distribute, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count eight, possession of a Schedule IV controlled substance, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count 9, crossing guard lines, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count 10, violation of oath by public officer, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
And that has been signed, filled in, and dated by you.
Right.
All right. If you could hand that verdict form back to the deputy so that the state may review it as well as the defendant.
Oh, I've seen this.
All right. Starting with the state, is there any objection to the form of the verdict, and is there any reason this jury cannot be excused?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. And over to Ms. Young. Any objection to the form of the verdict, and is there any reason this jury cannot be excused?
There's an object.
All
You're
right.
still in contempt of justice, but that's it.
All right. That being the objection, it's noted for the record. And so, members of the jury, at this time, your service has concluded. If anyone wants to speak with you now about your deliberations, you're certainly free to, but you don't have to. And all the other obligations that I had placed on you are lifted at this time. I certainly know that sometimes the lawyers would want to talk with you to get feedback, and so I'll come back, and I personally want to thank you as well for your the work you've put into this, and then I'll ask whether the lawyers want to come back and talk with you. But certainly we won't be blocking the door. So you've done you put in your work, and so you feel free to leave as well. And so with that, it's with the thanks of this court for your service that you can be dismissed. Did the state wish to speak with the jury at all?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is there any reason we can't proceed to sentencing today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. We'll be in recess for about 15 minutes. All right. We're back on the record for sentencing. I'll begin with the state to present any evidence in aggravation. Let's also start with your...
All right, this is
New
my favorite
bracelets.
part of the video.
Yeah, because she's wearing new bracelets now. And
And she
guess
is.
what? When they had her in custody, 15 minutes meant 15 minutes. It didn't mean 2 hours and 20 minutes later. No, it meant 15 minutes.
It's a weird concept.
Yeah.
I thought time was just relevant. Like, it doesn't matter.
Relative.
Relative, thank you.
You're just as bad as the fucking guards.
I know.
Jesus.
I'm just trying to sound smart, you know? And of course, you're there to catch me.
Expose, not catch.
Thanks, Dick. Did I use that properly? Asshole?
Kind of, yeah, actually.
recommendation as well.
Your Honor, as the court is aware, the defendant, or the court may not be aware, but the defendant does not have a prior record. However, the state's recommendation in this case is not only based on the evidence in this case, but also based upon the fact that the defendant has not accepted responsibility for her actions and in the situation that she caused at the jail, and the fact that her actions potentially put inmates and other people at risk. For that reason, Your Honor, the state recommends the following sentence. With regards to counts 1 and 2, we believe count 2 would merge with count 1. The state's recommendations on counts 1 and 2 are 15 years to serve 10. State's recommendation on count 3 is 5 years to serve, concurrent with counts 1 and 2. Regarding counts 4 and 5, again, the possession in count 5 would merge with count 4. State's recommendation is 15 to serve 10. The recommendation for count 6 is 5 years to serve to run concurrent with counts 4 and 5. Count 7 and 8, Your Honor, the state would recommend 15 to serve 10, with count 8 merging into count 7. And on count 9, 5 years to serve to run concurrent. And then for the violation of oath, state would recommend 5 years to serve to run concurrent.
All right, pause it here. All right, it's important to note here, because, and I mentioned it in my video earlier, that what everything the prosecution just said, the state's recommendation, every single charge was to run concurrent. Okay. So keep in mind, you had three sets of three charges, and they were possession with intent to distribute, possession, and crossing guard lines. So those were the first three. She got found guilty on all of those, and those three carried over for three different substances, which was ecstasy, marijuana, and Xanax. So that was the 9 charges. And then so what the prosecution just said was all of the possession charges merge into the possession with intent. So now she's ultimately being found guilty and going to be punished for 6 charges, which are 3 different possession with intent charges, and then 3 different crossing guard line charges, and then 1 violation of oath of office charge. Okay. And the prosecution just recommended at most 10 years, all of them running concurrent. So it was like 10, 10, 10, 5, 5, 5, and 5, but all of them ran concurrent with each other. So she would have done 10 years with 5 years on probation. That was the recommendation by the state. It's important to know this because all the bullshit she pulled is about to come back and bite her in the ass. And this is why you don't pull bullshit when you're on trial for very serious crimes. You act right, you respect the court, and you try to do everything you can to mitigate what happens when you get found guilty, especially if you're guilty. Don't come in there and say, it's not me. That's not me. That was my straw man. So anyway, I just wanted to put all that on the record right here with you guys so you understand that the prosecution recommended that she do 10 years in prison and 5 years on probation total, and she would have been done with this. The judge, however, he sees it completely differently. All right, go ahead.
In terms of evidence and aggravation, Ms. Boykin, at a prior hearing, you didn't have the case at the time, but it was Mr. Herzog who made representations that this case involved gang affiliation, that there were, and I know that there was a warrant taken out initially in this case about gang affiliation, and that he referenced other evidence showing that she was distributing directly to inmates. And so is that something the state is prepared to introduce in aggravation here today?
Your Honor, the state does have information related to that. We do not have the witness here to testify regarding those matters. Should the court hold a scheduling hearing or a hearing at a later date, we can have that witness available given this time of day.
All right. Well, not hearing a request to continue sentencing and the evidence not.
Would request for the court to continue sentencing to hear from that witness.
And the state's recommendation, though, would remain the same after presenting this aggravating evidence.
It would, Your Honor.
All right. And just by, wouldn't consider it unless we did hear that evidence, but by way of proffer to complete the record, what would be your proffer, what that witness would testify to?
Your Honor, the witness, Raylene Bruce, would testify that she too worked at the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. She assisted Investigator Green with obtaining the defendant's cell phone. A subsequent dump of that cell phone did show that the defendant was communicating not only with inmates, but with other individuals to sell items, to sell drugs within the jail. There are also some Instagram postings for the defendant. And there's also photos of her gang tattoos that were taken at the Fulton County Jail.
All right. I will reserve a ruling on your request to continue the sentencing, and right now simply continue today based on what you've already argued and what has been presented through this trial. And your proffer would not play any role in that at this time. Anything else on behalf of the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Young, at this point, should you choose to do so, this is an opportunity for you to tell me anything about yourself, your character, your background, anything that you think I
She
should
loves
consider
to
in
eat
mitigation,
paint.
meaning why you deserve a.
What was that?
I'm sorry. I was just sitting there thinking to myself, and he was like, "It's time to tell me anything you would like to say on behalf of yourself." I was like, "She loves to eat paint." I don't know why I said it. I should have just been quiet and let it kept playing. I'm sorry.
She
That was
knows.
my ADHD fucking coming out really bad and live.
She knows the flavors of Windows.
God.
Lesser sentence and whatever sentence you recommend. And so to that end, the floor is yours.
So as I said earlier, on the record, we are in equity jurisdiction, correct? You have no answer?
I'll have an answer for you shortly, Ms. Young.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the failure or refusal to proceed in equity under exclusive jurisdiction will constitute in contempt of justice. As I said earlier, I was seeking administrative remedy, awaiting your communications to be delivered to correct parties. You are in contempt of justice by not allowing the surety, the implied surety, to produce this receipt of payment. So with that being said, my fee schedule will be on the record publicly soon, as soon as I can. But again, I have a 4-year-old son. Like I said, there was a lot of miscommunication. You have been in contact with my mother and my father without my knowledge, and they have miscommunicated the time that I was supposed to be back. I told them the situation. And as I was getting lunch and headed back to the courthouse where your officers intercepted, that's all that was being said. So, and I was not read my Miranda rights as well, just putting that on the record as well. And also to clarify again, the respondent had a duty to all complaints and questions because of the legal special relationship of the parties by not responding to the respondent via the indictment, the true bill that was originally sent to the respondent, is in breach of trust because of the infant estate and duty of care associated therewith and thereto in an express trust. The court and its officials, the prosecutor or the plaintiff, being that the state cannot represent itself, obviously, our legal title holder of not only the express trust, but also the constructive trust, as now have been placed on the record. I share the same or similar name again as the named defendant in their case number 23 SC 192047. However, for clarification, I am not acting in the capacity as the named defendant. I am the beneficiary and equitable title holder. None of this information is foreign to the court. This matter must proceed in equity, and failure or refusal to proceed in equity under exclusive jurisdiction, which you said we are in, will constitute contempt of justice. I am appearing, especially and not generally. I'm trying to let you know that this case has been settled. And until that notice reaches you, until I'm able to go do what I need to do to make sure your notice reaches you, I'm here. So again, I would like to seek administrative remedy, awaiting your communications to be delivered to the correct parties.
Ms. Young, you raised and said that you have a 4-year-old.
I do.
Who is caring for your 4-year-old at this moment?
I have no idea right now because his daycare closed at 6:00 p.m.
And so you've left your 4-year-old in the care of a daycare and made no plans.
My mother, I have no way to contact. I have no way to do anything because you intercepted before I could do what I was supposed to do.
All right. And so your mother has the ability to care for your 4-year-old?
I have no idea because I've not been able to speak with anyone. You are holding me against my will right now. So no, I have not spoken to anyone.
And what daycare is your son at?
Why?
Well, the answer would be because we want to make sure he's taken care of, and we actually have some regard for him, unlike what you've shown here today.
How have I shown no regard for my son?
Do you have anything further to present, Ms. Young?
Other than you're in contempt of justice? No.
All right.
You can proceed to doing.
Okay, with that, I will announce.
Get ready for it, everybody. She just did the fuck around part.
Yeah. The fuck around phase has been completed. Now it's time to move on to the find out phase.
The sentence in this case. I'll say I don't believe deferring or continuing this to a later date is needed because I'm willing, at a minimum, to accept the state's recommendation based on what's already been presented. I don't think aggravating evidence is needed here. I'll just start off by saying I don't think I've ever seen a more ineffective presentation at a sentencing hearing. Ms. Young, you've taken no responsibility not only for these acts, but you've completely thumbed your nose at this process and at the law that you swore to uphold. You've lied to me. You've embarrassed yourself and the department you used to work for. And you've contributed to the crisis we've had at this jail that we've had to experience for years. You're the cause of the danger that everyone who works there and has to be detained there has to experience. So I'm not going to belabor the point, but the sentence in this case will be 40 years to serve 15 years with the balance on probation. We'll stack the charges, and Ms. Young can be removed from the courtroom because she's continuing to disrupt the proceedings. All right, at this time, for the record, Ms. Young has again been removed from the courtroom because she continues to disrupt these proceedings. We have, she's back in the detention area, and we have had a deputy go back with her. The deputy is holding a laptop, which is live streaming these proceedings in real time so that she can still hear the conclusion of the court sentence and the advisement of her rights, which is very important. To conclude, I think the heart of this case is the violation of oath by a public officer. So I'm going to have that as the lead count. So count 11 would be 5 years to serve. I'm also going to make a special note on this sentence that this sentence is not going to begin running until 40 days from today's date, and that it's going to be consecutive to the court's order of contempt, which has already been filed and was entered on today, January 28th. So count 11 would be 5 years to serve. From there, we return back to the top of the indictment, where the sentence would be 30 years to serve 15 years with the balance on probation. Strike that. That would be 30 years to serve 10 years with the balance on probation, which is to run consecutive to count 11. Count 2 merges into count 1. Count 3, crossing guidelines, would be 5 years to serve, consecutive to count 11, and concurrent with count 1. Count 4, possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to distribute. That's going to be 30 to serve 15. Again, that's consecutive to count 11. That's concurrent to count 1. Count 5 merges into count 4. Count 6 is the crossing guard lines. That's 5 years to serve. That's consecutive to count 11 to run concurrent with 2 and 4. Count 7 is the possession of a Schedule IV with the intent to distribute. I think at this point, since I had announced a 40 serve 15, there still needs to be another 15 years on probation. And so count 7 would be 15 years probation consecutive to count 11, and consecutive to count 1 and 4. Count 8 merges to count 7, and count 9 is 5 years to serve, consecutive to count 11, concurrent to count 1. I will double check the math on this, but again, the sentence is 40 years probation to serve 15 years with the first 5 on the violation, the next 10 to serve on the possession with intents, and then probation to follow from there. The special conditions would include that she is not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs. She's not to possess any weapons or any replicas of any.
Skeptic. So I didn't notice that when I was first watching this, but when I was like just kind of skipping through it, you can see that there is a line at the right, like in his like the judge's like upper torso area. that's frozen, and everything under it's moving. So you can see his hand moving, but the top of his body isn't. And when you fast forward and rewind it right here at this point, it looks really weird.
Wow, I never noticed that. I was like, what's going on? Why is he only a half man? Why is he sitting there? Why is nobody freaking out that the guy doesn't have a head or shoulders? And why is his arm still sticking to his body? Who super glued him there?
He's not a real person.
God, that's crazy. Yeah. Now I see the line though. Now I feel stupid.
Weapons for any technical violations. Those will fall into the sentencing option system with a sanctions cap of PDC or RSAT. She's not to have any contact.
Hey,
with
1 second.
Any,
I think I Am Jedi is accidentally timing people out. I Am Jedi, if you're listening to this with your phone in your pocket, you're timing people out on accident, I think. All right. There you go. I said it. We're good.
inmates at the Fulton County Jail. Are there any other additional conditions the state would be requesting?
Okay. Not accidental. Never mind.
Would request counseling for the defendant in Department of Corrections. And no probation.
I'll fix it. So, yeah. And just as I know, we've already had this on the record, but the final disposition will reflect the null pros on count 10. Is there a form of counseling you're saying would be recommended?
Just mental health counseling, perhaps on probation once she gets out.
We can include that recommendation. I'll just state for the record that I had been observing Ms. Young throughout this trial, and I think I've seen a method to her madness, especially when cross-examining the witnesses. She knows what the issues were in this trial and just has a very grave misunderstanding of the law and how she thought she could be successful in this case. So I didn't have any concerns about her competency to proceed in this case or her criminal responsibility here. Anything else from the state?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. And again, with the awareness that Ms. Young has the opportunity to be listening to us by live stream from the holding cell, I have to advise her that, Ms. Young, you have the right to seek post-judgment relief from your conviction of these crimes by either making a motion for new trial in this court or by filing an appeal to a higher appellate court. If you want to file a motion for new trial or an appeal, then you'll need to file that motion or notice of appeal with the clerk of Superior Court of this county within 30 days. You may want to more fully discuss this with an attorney if you choose to request one after a motion is filed, but it is your responsibility to file that motion for new trial. If a motion for new trial is made and the court denies it, you'll have 30 days from the.
All right, we don't need to hear this. It's pretty much over.
Yeah, except for hold on. He said originally 40 to serve 15, which would be 25 extra years on probation.
Yes.
But he ends up giving her 15 years in prison and 40 years of probation. That's what is the final judge ruling. So if you want to move it towards the end.
Oh, there's only 20 seconds left of the video, so I can just play the last 20 seconds.
Oh, is there? It might have cut off early then. Go ahead.
Filing of the order of denial in which to file with the clerk of court your notice of appeal. You have a right to have an attorney represent you on the motion for new trial and the first level of direct appellate review. And if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, the court will provide you an attorney and a transcript of your trial at no cost. And a felony, as a felony convictions, you have a period of 4 years from the date that your sentence in this court becomes final to file a habeas corpus petition. Anything further from the state? All right, this matter is adjourned.
Oh, well, maybe, okay. Maybe we just went over.
Sergeant.
Maybe it just went through it without us catching it. But yeah, he says on there, he ends up giving her 30 years to serve 10 on the I believe it was either 30, I think 30 years to serve 10, and then she got 5 years for the oath of office. So that ended up being 15 to serve it came out to 25. So maybe it was 35 to serve 10 or something. It came out to 25, and then there was one other charge that she had that he ended up giving her 15 years of probation to be run consecutive. And then he goes, if my math is correct on that, that's 15 years in prison with an additional 40 years of probation afterwards. So she ended up getting next like 55 years of her life are going to be all on probation or all on dealing with the court system for this.
Yeah, good job. That was the FO portion of the evening.
Yeah, right.
Oh, all right. Before we head out, I got a couple super chats left, and then I wanna just announce this real quick since Annette probably came in late and didn't hear us earlier. Hold on.
Here, I can address that real quick. So a lot of people, because I get this question actually asked a lot on my channel. Can you update us on Lindsay? Can you do this? What's going on? There's literally nothing to update right now, other than she's going through the court system, and sometimes we have access to the court videos, sometimes we do not. She had a court hearing today. I don't have the outcome of that court hearing on hand. Chuck may in the audience right now. Chuck may have it, but we tried to get into the court hearing. We were in, and then they booted us out about 2 minutes into the hearing. So unfortunately, we don't have the hearing for today. However, Wednesday, 11 a.m., my channel, 11 a.m. Central. I know 11 a.m. doesn't mean shit on a globe Earth because that's just one slice of the entire Earth. 11 a.m. Central, United States time. That's when I'm going to go live, and we're going to have a Lindsay Daneski watch party. And at least Colin will be there. Maybe one or two other people will be there, but she has an appearance planned for that day. So and it is a public channel. So we'll be watching the public channel and having a watch party. And I'd love for every one of you to be there. That'll be on my channel Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning or Wednesday at noon for everyone that lives in a time zone that makes sense.
New York. Or 5 p.m. for you British folks.
Yes. 5 p.m. for you British folks. But yeah, so Lindsay, and thank you. Never mind. I'm not even going to say that. Let's just nail these super chats. Angie, thank you so much for the super chat. For a watch that she won't be able to wear. Thank you, Angie. I appreciate it. Yeah. She'll be wearing bracelets, but not going to be watches. Sherzad, thank you so much for the 9 months. I appreciate it. And Sparkle Poots, y'all got to wind that. That's half judge.
Half judge, right?
Half judge. All right. That's it, guys. I appreciate you all coming out and hanging out with us. Skeptic, again, thank you so much for doing this tonight. This was awesome. I do appreciate it.
I always have a good time when I come here.
Good. And yeah, so as we said, Skeptic's going to be streaming on Wednesday. I'll be hanging out with him for a little bit there, and we'll be watching the latest episode of Miss Daneski.
Hey, you know what I'll do? I'll play the 2 minutes that I have of her in court at least for that day, so you'll be able to see that. It's only like 2 minutes, but apparently it was a good 2 minutes. So I will. I'll definitely let you guys hear that on the live stream.
Awesome. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for the super chats, the gifted memberships, the membership milestones. You guys were very generous. I do appreciate it. And have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow, if not on Wednesday on Skeptic's channel.
I love you guys.
All right. Yeah, that's all I got. You have any last words? I should have let you say it before I just gave my outro.
No, just that I really love you guys. I like what Colin does over here. So definitely, if you're not subscribed already, go subscribe. Actually, everybody's already subscribed, but go subscribe to me while you're at it. Because you know you don't subscribe to me. Because my vulgarity. Shit. It's bad. All right. That's
all right. Good night, everybody. See you
Good night.
tomorrow. Where's my outro? Oh, here it is.